All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on here in our 14th year. Going to be 15 here very short, right in February. We do the 15-year thing. Pretty excited about what's coming up here on the Couch Potato Sports Show and what we are doing week from week here on the show. And for 15 years, never mind all the people that we've had up on the show, the guests and stuff. And we stopped doing the guests because first of all, they're hard to get. And second of all, we never get a lot of answers, but lots of people we've had on the show, the things that we've done, whether it's indoor football, high school football, indoor soccer. I did indoor soccer. Yes, I did. And lots of things that we've been doing over the 15 years. It's going to be, kind of a neat anniversary. We'll talk about some of the things that we did over the years and years and years up on the show. Never mind the fact that we got this guy. Yeah. This guy tripped into the show now, and now he is a regular. Hey, I've had worse on the show. Let's just say that. It's the Podfather. Wait, I don't have a virtual shake to shake you awake, but wake your ass up. How you doing? Good morning, my friend. How many more concerts? You got a concert tonight. You got a concert tonight. Who? Yeah. By the way, you said you had two concerts. Were they the same one or?
No, we had Ron White on. We actually had the venue had three concerts already. I only worked two of them. They had Leonard Skinner on Thursday. I, of course, am busy on Thursday. They had Ron White on Friday, which was really good. They had Midland yesterday, which was kind of show. And tonight they got Blake Shelton for New Year's Eve. So
that's right. I heard about that. He's a pretty big catch for New Year's Eve party.
Well, he lives right out there in Tishomingo, so that's pretty close to where the world's largest casino is. So,
well, Cuervo is in Las Vegas. He's going to be bringing in the new year over there. I don't know if he's going to make it up on the show because I got a message last night at 3:30 from him, which means he's probably dead to the world this morning. In Las Vegas, it's only 7 a.m. over there. Who knows? Yeah. Well, he was at the Bellagio, and he had a drink in one hand and smiling in the other. The big smile, not just the normal Cuervo. He had the big smile, so he was definitely drinking it up, having a few adult beverages to start the day off for him. So kind of cool for that.
That sounds so good right now.
Oh, adult beverage, yeah.
Oh, by the way, do you have time for a little bit of a movie review?
Yeah, go ahead.
Went to go see the Iron Claw this past week.
And
okay, if you are a fact checker, I know in football you are, but I mean, if you're a fact checker in the world of the Von Erichs. And if you've watched every documentary and you've watched everything World Class ever did, this movie might bother you. Yeah. However, if you're me, and I grew up in Dallas, but I was never really connected to the Von Erichs, watching World Class at the time because I was a WWE guy.
Yeah.
And I knew the story going in, and I knew what was left out. They left out one of the brothers. They
left out a whole brother.
Yeah, because the story is so sad, right? The story is extremely. Yes. I mean, in reality, there are 6 brothers. 5 of them are dead. One was electrocuted. One died of either a drug overdose or an intestinal issue, and the other one's committed suicide. And then, of course, there's Kevin. But there's only 2 hours to do this movie. Okay. You have to have left something out, unfortunately, right. And I think
one brother included.
Yeah, and the one that left out which was Chris Von Erich. I think leaving him out, it works a little bit more for the movie because had you included that, you might have made Fritz von Erich a bigger heel than he really should have been.
Gotcha.
I mean, he was already kind of floating along the lines of, this guy is just okay. This is how we continue the story. This is how we continue, keep doing this, and at that point, when Chris committed suicide back in '91, the world class was pretty much losing money hand over fist, and I think at that point they actually sold out to USWA.
That
So
was the middle. That was the middle to later '80s, correct?
when he died,
No, when they were kind of going out
oh,
of business.
it was late '80s, like '88, '89, when they were starting to really falter because WWE had really picked up a lot of steam,
Yes.
and I started winning over some of the markets they were going into. But yeah, and yes, I know people are going to have issues with this. At no point did Kerry Von Erich win the NWA World Heavyweight title and then go on a motorcycle ride and lose his foot. I mean, to understand the fact, okay, Kerry actually defended the title a few times, had the belt for 18 days. Okay, went to Japan, lost it back to Flair.
Right.
That was not really showcased in the movie. It was pretty much shown he had the title, won a ride, lost his foot. I mean, he actually kept the foot for a while until he realized that it couldn't work, and then they had to take it off. That took place 2 years later, after Kerry won the belt. So, there's a lot of time that went through all that was not really established in the movie because, once again, creative freedom. It's like Man on the Moon, right? Man on the Moon.
Right.
Jim Carrey finds out he has cancer and then says, "I want to play Carnegie Hall." Well, in reality, Andy Kaufman actually played Carnegie Hall and did the whole thing before he found he had cancer. So it's that creative freedom type thing that Hollywood will do on you. But honestly, it is a really, really good movie. It actually made me want to go back and watch some YouTube stuff on the Von Erichs, just so I can, because I can watch the parts of Mike when he actually had the toxic syndrome, so I can go back and watch to see how his face was the way his words were being delivered, as far as like, did he have brain damage from having a fever of 107, all that
Right.
stuff that parts of Kerry after the accident, to where I can see how he moved around on the leg because he was in a lot of pain. That's why he did what he did, because he just lived with pain the entire time. I did like the thing where, and once again, in the whole thing of accuracy here, Kerry is in the WWF at the time. He goes back home in the movie. He goes back home for Christmas. His dad welcomes him back, saying, "You are the WWF Intercontinental Champion. Man, were they going to give you a chance to take that title off that former tag team partner of yours, Hellwig?" And I'm like, "That's right. The Ultimate Warrior was the heavyweight champion at the time when he was."
Right.
But so that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. But then I thought, I was like, wait a minute. Kerry already dropped the title to Mr. Perfect back in November. So, okay, and he's home for Christmas. I know they had TV tapings and all that back in the day. So I was like, so, I mean, it wasn't worth going back to research because I'm not a fact checker like that. I mean, I
Right.
enjoyed the movie a lot, and I think people who are not kin to what the Von Erichs are about outside of Texas will want to see this movie just to get an idea. Then, if you want to go on YouTube and go down the rabbit hole, go ahead, go have at it. YouTube will love you for
Yeah.
it. But the thing is that I think you'll really enjoy the movie. I talked to a friend of mine, Chad Jones, who lives in North Carolina. He's a wrestler. He used to be a former wrestler in Dallas named Randy Wayne. And talked to him. He just seen the movie. I said, "What was it? What was better, the wrestler or this movie?" He's like, "This one. This one was way
Yeah.
better because he didn't really like the wrestler because it painted wrestling in a dark image, which for some it was." Um,
For most, it was. Let's
yeah,
be honest. I mean,
yeah,
for most that really get into this
right,
business, it turns dark, and sometimes it turns dark really quick.
right. And then, like, for JT LaMotta on Facebook, when I asked it out there, he says, the wrestler by 0.02% is better. Because, but it's neck and neck. I mean, they're really good wrestling stories. One's dark, and let's face it, this is a very dark story too. but it's
Mhm.
also a very real story because a real family lost so many. And that's where the part that there's two parts to get you. It's the very end. Carrie had just killed himself. This is like the Titanic going down. Everybody knows what's going to happen. All right.
Right.
So Carrie kills himself, and then later you see him walking out of the house. He's got both his legs, and he's on a rowboat, and he's on the lake. And as he's coming up, he sees his fallen brothers, Jackie Jr., who electrocuted him when he was a baby. You have um you have David, you have Mike, and so he goes up to the shore with them, goes up to them, gives them all a big hug, and like you see the brotherhood right there, right? And you're going, that's awesome. Then at the end, you see young Marshall and young Ross who are playing in the backyard, and Kevin is sitting there watching them crying, and they go up and go, "What's wrong, Dad?" He's like, "I'm watching you brothers, and I think I used to be a brother, but I'm not a brother anymore," and that hits you because it's true. So it is a really good movie. I mean, we're in the Oscar season right now. I don't know if the movie will get any kind of consideration. I think the guy who played Fritz did a wonderful job. I think the woman who played Doris did a wonderful job. Um, even Zac Efron. I mean, Zac Efron, he put the effort in to do this thing,
Yep.
and
I
give me
read a
that.
lot of good stuff about his
Yeah.
efforts in that movie.
So I recommend anybody, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're a fan of movies, go see the movie. I think you'll enjoy it. And go in just saying, look, I'm sure Hollywood it up a little bit. Even Kevin Von Erich has told on Chris Jericho's show, yeah, Hollywood. I mean, I didn't hate my dad that much, but
Yeah.
the movie shows that he hated him, right? But Fritz did. I mean, but I understand this. Fritz had his boys underneath his thumb a lot, and having my father do the same thing with me when I was a kid, I get that. So I really do think that everybody will enjoy the movie, and it's a movie about brothers. I mean, yeah, there are things that are left out. There are, Kevin had two older daughters before he had his two boys. Those are left. They're left out. I mean,
Right.
Carrie has two daughters. They're left out, but the whole daughters love the movie. So I mean,
Did
what
they
does that say?
did they get into why only really Carrie was the only one that really kind of got into the WWE? The other ones were did they get into the reasoning behind that as far as what the
It was
interpretation
it was
of
never
the
really
story?
there was never any real reason given in the movie, but the obvious reason is Vince. Vince loved Carrie's look, and I mean, Carrie looked like a as chiseled as he looked the
Yes, he
part that
was.
Vince would want. Kevin. I mean, Kevin never really mentioned why. I mean, I've heard interviews why he never really signed with WWE. I mean, he was offered, but he's like, I didn't want to stay with, I don't be with my family that long. And when you're on the road with WWE, you were constantly on the road, and
300 days a week or
yeah,
a year.
yeah, and I mean, it's a different day nowadays, but back then, it was a killer calendar that would do it.
Yeah.
There's a book that Roddy Piper put out called The Sickness. Or no, I'm sorry, he calls it The Sickness that every wrestler has,
Right.
and Kerry had it. He loved the business so much that he sacrificed everything to be a part of it. But at the same time, he gave up a lot to do it. Like he did the drugs and everything else he was a part of. There were times where they would be, in a hotel, and Kerry would look over at Bret Hart and say, "I want to go be with my brothers," and then Bret's like, "Whoa, time out, yeah, hold it down there, buddy." So I
No
mean,
kidding,
there's
right?
a lot of that, right? Because and there's a lot of that. So it's a good movie. It's a great movie. The guy who plays Ric Flair in the movie, he's gotten a lot of flack, and he really
Yeah,
should.
he is. I read something about that,
But
that there were some other people that could have done that better, but I think
maybe,
if they
but
would have made that glitz and glitter, it would have took away from the Von Erichs, is
you know what
my
though?
kind of look on that.
I found it more comical in the sense that you know Ric Flair in the movie that's supposed to be Ric Flair in a way. But the guy who played Harley Race was great because
Yeah.
he looked like him, kind of sounded like him a little bit, a little higher voice. Did a really good job with that as well. So I do really think that they did a decent job with that. And look, there's archive footage you can actually watch in the movie where when they're showing like on the TV the match with Kerry and Flair at Texas Stadium, you can kind of see the real thing being played out as Kerry wins the title. But it's on the TV and it's very small, so you can't really see the real Kerry or whatnot. So it was kind of cool. And again, I say go see the movie. It's worth the $8, which they're charging nowadays. My buddy,
I heard it was more expensive than that. Where'd you go to the matinee?
No, I went to matinee at the AMC over here in Arnwood.
There you go. $8 on the matinee. Got it.
No, hey, $5 Tuesday sometimes. So
there you go. So, I mean, I didn't keep up with the Von Erichs. I was not even a Kerry Von Erich fan per se. I know they pushed it a lot in the WWE because that's where I seen them. Obviously, I knew of the Von Erichs, but I just kind of figured, and this is back in the day when I wasn't quote unquote educated in the business as I am today, but more the fact I just thought they weren't good enough to get to the WWE in reality. But that's the surface, because if you're good enough, you're in the WWE, and back in the day, that's just kind of the way it was, or the WWF back in those days. But yeah,
you gotta remember one thing though: those boys lived under a comfort zone so impactful for them. They were untouchable here in Dallas.
Right. Absolutely.
And if to go to journey outside of Dallas, journey outside of Texas, really, and try to make a name for themselves, some of them did. Now, if you find the rare interview where David Von Erich is cutting a heel promo with his brother Kerry in Florida because they're doing like a big tag team invitational thing, and to watch them trying to be a heel, it was so excruciating hard to watch because like they don't know how to play that role.
Exactly. And that's a role that you pick up, nowadays. They teach you both sides of it more so than you're going in as that. And that's usually the way you stayed.
And the thing I tell all the young kids over at SOAR is like, guys, when you're a heel, you can do anything. You have so much creative freedom to break the rules, to do the things that, get the fans want to be so pissed at you. And the thing is that you develop real heat. Well, kids nowadays are so sensitive to being booed, and because it hurts, it deflates their ego. I say, dude, let it blow you up. I mean, because you think back to the days of. I mean, it's nowhere near what it was back in the day when Roddy Piper was a heel back in the 70s and 80s and was getting stabbed at shows. I mean, it's nothing like that.
Not anymore.
I mean, the fact that people, you're trying to get people to sit there and believe that what you're doing is real, right? So in order, you try to, and the thing is, they all go in there with the RDD sense of, look, we all know it's all what it is, and we're not going to sit there and, and we're just going to, yay and nay the performance, whatever it is, right? But if you can sit there and make them believe for just a little bit that you can be taken sad, that's why I never do anything nice at SOAR, because, why? I mean, it would take away from my character.
Yeah.
And like I remember what was it? One of the young kids, he fell out of the ring one night, and I was also grabbing him. He tried almost landing head first onto the floor, right? So I wanted to make sure he didn't fall. I said, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? That's good. And I shoved him really hard, and he hit the post right there. And then he came up to me later. And he says, "You didn't tell me you were going to do that." I'm like, I did a nice gesture. Don't think there's not paid payment that comes with that. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, but and it's like,
by the way, you better probably watch your back now.
I'm like, look. I mean, look, I got you. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks. And I shoved him really hard. He's like, what the hell? It's like, sorry about your luck, pal. And I picked him and threw him back in the ring. I mean,
Wake up, pal. Wake up.
All right. Shake it off, pal.
Shake it off.
No,
What are you doing?
but I was like, okay, you know what? My role is to be a bully around ringside, okay? And
Yeah,
I
we
I
see
can't
that
let
in your
the
intro.
yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. But hey, and kudos to Nate Lawson for trying to do the same thing. The problem with Nate though is the fact that he was so beloved for a long time. People are having a hard time making that adjustment to him. So
Which is perfect, though.
it is perfect
I
for
think,
him, and
yeah.
so kudos to him for doing what he's doing with Gabe, and I hope it works out well for them. And I got my own business to take care of now, and we'll see what happens here on January 6th, 2024.
Oh, so you're not doing first week? Gotcha. Oh yeah, you are. That is
That is
first
first
week.
week, sir.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
See, there's 7 days
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
week. All right. I mean, you're
yeah.
one,
Shut
then you
up.
got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're still not at the end of the week yet. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Good Lord. Oh my gosh.
Somebody didn't get any sleep last night, did they?
Well, I did not sleep well, that's for sure. But anyway.
This stinks! This is total BS!
How you adjusting to moving back to the wife's house?
It is an adjustment, but at the same time, it's nothing different because we got different things going on. So it's not necessarily too much different because I'm still doing what I'm doing, and at the time I'm doing it. So
All right.
it's one of those things. So let's see what this. Okay, I was seeing if that was Cuervo. But all right, so that being said, I may go check it out. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the Von Erich, so I don't know if I'm gonna invest in the time. It's not the money because I could go see the $8 one.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know what? All I'm saying is this: if you like good movies, go see a good movie. I mean, you will not be bored by it at all.
Well, the good thing about this one compared to others, this is not a superhero movie, man. I just
God.
do we got any other movies besides superhero movies?
Well, the thing is, those aren't even selling out anymore. I mean, before you couldn't stop those now. Aquaman put the death knell on the DC universe, and
yes,
and I don't think anyone ever saw Ant-Man 3. So it just is what it is.
it's interesting, how they decide whether or not or what they're going to do as far as a movie is concerned. So I find that interesting, and the ideas of what's actually going to show, and then throw up on the top of what actually does sell, what actually does hit in a movie. But I'm not a superhero movie. Last one I think as far as superheroes is the early 2000 Spider-Mans. I think is about the only ones that I watching. I wasn't even really impressed with that either, but it is what it is. But all right, so there we go. We got the review of
The
Iron Claw and everything. So check it out if that's your forte, and see what yours, and let us know how you think of it, and we'll go from there. Let's hop back into the games. Thursday night football, and last night. Well, let's talk about last night. Last night was the big controversy. Your Dallas Cowboys. By the way, you know. I guess I'm going to ask you because you are the guy. Are you feeling good about that victory last night?
Victory's a victory, buddy. I mean, look. By rule that was called on the field, and it does suck because I know people think that the game is rigged, but the thing is that what happened, when number 70 called himself eligible for the play and he threw the ball to 68, that's the referee called the flag on. So, look, that game could have gone either way. Okay, that game was close, and Jared Goff did a decent job of moving the ball down the field. Dak threw the ball more. Dude, CeeDee Lamb had a hell of a game. CeeDee Lamb had a hell of a game.
Well, guess what? 95 yards in one play, and without that play, they don't win the football game per se. Depending on what happened after that play.
And the cool thing is in front of Michael Irvin, because he was there at the game. CeeDee Lamb surpassed his single season career reception by yardage still last night. So good for him. Look, Dallas needed that win. Regardless of how they need to, because they got Washington in the final game. They got to win that just because they have to keep the momentum going. And to go to Washington to win that's going to be hard because they've had problems on grass. They've had problems with away games. They've had problems just being out of their element.
Yes.
And by the way, they're going to have to learn to be road warriors in the playoffs because they ain't playing at home. So
that depends. That depends if the Philadelphia can lose one of the last two, which
doesn't look. I mean, you got
doesn't look like that might happen.
You got the Cardinals and the Giants, so good luck with that.
Yeah. So depending on the situation and how it moves forward, but I'm just gonna say it. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, don't be too cocky about the way that they're playing, because the fact of the matter is that game right there, you take away that one play, that's a total different play, a total different game of what's happening. And that also being said, that running game is pretty much been exposed. Watch the tape on the Lions on how to stop whatever running game that the Dallas Cowboys might have. So there are a lot of, obviously there's going to be a lot of chinks in the armor in anything that you do and whoever you play. But right now, as far as the Dallas Cowboys going into the playoffs, I'm thinking compared to the team they just played, I'm feeling more confident about the Lions moving forward in the playoffs than I am about the Dallas Cowboys. They're both now both have the same record, 11-5. God, could you imagine? I just, as kind of a lifelong Lion fan, okay, I'm really excited about seeing the Lions where they are. The problem that win would have just really solidified what they were doing, going into the playoffs. I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching this, I'm feeling really good in reality for the fact that the Lions can win that close game in a tough game. And, whether they could have, should have, would have won that game last night, I think it tells more about the Lions than it does for the Cowboys moving forward into the playoffs. So it should be interesting. Now, that kind of game for the Cowboys, if they're a nitty-gritty football team, that hits you pretty hard, and you're ready to move forward and play differently. By the way, Dak played pretty good football last night. He's listen. I've said it, and I've said it before. And when we talk about it on this show, before you joined on a regular basis, who else are you going to get? I mean, go out there and see who else are you going to get.
My argument.
And think about this, not that I think he should be the MVP, but he's in the talks for the MVP. So, years before that when he wasn't.
Well, he's getting ready to piss you off even more because they're thinking about giving him $50 to $60 million a year for a contract.
Well, it's not that it pisses me off. I'm telling you right now, when Dak Prescott signed that contract, I thought he deserved the money because of who he was playing for and what that situation was. So
see, the thing is, a lot of people don't seem to understand the idea that when you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and you have potential, again, Romo had potential to do what he had to do. He had no team around him, but he had potential to get where he had to get to. Dak has got pieces in place, not the right pieces in place, because I don't think he has a running back yet. I don't think he has, and don't get me wrong, he had Zeke for a while. And Zeke, God bless him. I mean, he just
come on. Zeke was not a good running back. I mean, listen.
Sonny, let me finish. Shut the fuck up. No, I was gonna say Zeke looked great his first year. the league figured him out really quick, and then getting yards was hard for him to do because he only had one trick. Okay, he didn't have breakaway speed. He didn't have he didn't have quickness of juking and driving outside the lanes. He couldn't get around the corners at all. So yeah, he had deficiencies in his play, but he also had a younger offensive line back in the day that were not as injury prone as they are now. So things were different then than they are when the more he kept playing with the Cowboys. So yeah, you're right. Zeke's not the greatest running back role. He proved that in New England this year. So look,
where the Dallas Cowboys are lacking. Okay, I think Pollard is good enough. The problem with what the Dallas Cowboys have not done, and I've preached it on this show, the Dallas Cowboys, their first round draft pick should always be an offensive lineman. I'm telling you right now, this is a football team that it prides itself on who it is, and that offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys has always been stellar. Back from, I would probably say, from the early 2002 to 3 and back, always had a good offensive line. I mean, Emmitt Smith didn't become the league's leading rusher because he had a bad offensive line. All right. So, and the fact that they have not taken care of that. I mean, look at Tyron Smith looking at him. This guy looks broken down. And right now, they don't have any plans in reality to make up for it, whether it's going to go out in free agency and find that offensive lineman, or drafting the guys that can help you out on the offensive line. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys will spend the money. Okay, so go out and go out and find your superstars. But when you're talking nitty gritty, you got to go into the draft, and you need to get those high draft picks and grab them up, especially now. Next year, they're not going to be at the top of the list on picks in the NFL. You can get those guys at the lower part of the first round and get the solid guy they need on the offensive line.
I agree with you on the offensive line thing. Here's the thing, though. Had they not, they got CeeDee Lamb as their first pick in the draft a couple years ago. So
yes, I understand.
They wouldn't have had him had they just got an offensive line. The fact that they're in the middle of the pack just about every year right now, draft choice wise, they're always within 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever, or even further on down the list. Offensive line is the right call to make for who you go get.
Without question.
Yeah, because if you have an earlier pick, like within the top 5, then maybe you want to look at a special player outside of there, but it's also based on, Dallas doesn't do a lot of willing and dealing during the year to where they can pick up draft choices the way they used to back in the day. And a lot of it is Jerry's got a lot of faith in what he's already put out there on the field. He doesn't like just to let him go
in his mind.
Away. In his mind, yeah. And whereas, back in the day when we had DeMarcus Ware, he came up on his contract year and he still had a lot of stuff to go. You could have shopped him.
Sorry, I was trying to move.
You just like to interrupt me, don't you? What an asshole! But so button friendly over there. But look, I think I'm not going to say times are changing because I don't think times will ever change for the Cowboys. I don't care. I don't care. If Jimmy Johnson goes in the Ring of Honor.
Not as long as Jerry owns it.
Yeah. So I think we just have to look. We just have to be on the lookout for just what this team can do coming up, because like I said, if they're going to be drafting within the fact that they're below the 20s now for their pick because they're already in the playoffs. So offensive line is the best choice. I mean, you got to find someone. You got to find someone to replace. Like you said, to Tyron Smith. Well, 2 years ago they got that other kid, that the other Tyler guy. I can't remember his name now, but and he's been somewhat serviceable. He hasn't been called for a lot of holding calls this year. He was a penalty machine his first year, but he's really picked up a lot and not been that. But they got to find someone to replace Zach Martin here soon. Zach Martin's getting old.
Yes.
They got to find someone to go out there and to take care of Biotis and a few other guys.
And whether or not they're going to pay Zach Martin at his age. That's going to be the biggest question because they've already experimented with that with Smith on the line. I mean, they threw a lot of money his way, and the guy's been
Dude,
So depending on how much money, I'd much rather see him spend money on the offensive line. But Zach Martin,
hey,
maybe 2 years ago, was going to get some
right.
big money from them, and he didn't end up getting that big money away. He should, but he decided to stay with Dallas and take the money from Jerry that he did offer. Was that a
Probably,
mistake for Zach Martin? I don't know. As far as money was concerned, probably was.
but you understand this, when you are a well-known, established player on your team, and you go somewhere else who will not be that. I mean, a lot of people like the idea of being the guy,
Yes.
and sometimes you take less to be the guy because being the guy means much more in your city and much more in your town and much more for your advertisers out there. And because you can probably get more money from Dallas advertisers than you can anywhere else, as far as like
Not too
okay,
many offensive linemen are out there,
right,
plugging,
but
mattresses and couches to sit on. So,
but once again though, but in Dallas they're everywhere.
yeah.
And let's face it, Micah Parsons. I mean, look how marketable that guy is going to be. He can
Oh God.
talk. He's got his own little podcast that he does. He is speak his mind. He's built himself for down the road so he can be an ESPN analyst here down the road. So clearly, he knows these guys know how to market themselves better today than they knew how to do back in the 90s. So
It's because of the change. Look, we're doing this stupid show. I mean, now anybody can do it. I mean, hell, if I can do it, that's the proof in the pudding. Hell, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now, that also being said, depending on who you want to listen to, Cam Newton, this guy's podcast, that the problem with some of what I'm listening from Cam is more in the fact that he still can't stand not being in the limelight. So he'll say something to put him in that limelight. Now, granted, if you want to market yourself, they say, good advertising, bad advertising, as long as they're talking about you. And believe me, they're still talking about Cam Newton. Just because of some of the things that he'll say based upon his quote unquote opinion. I sometimes wonder if he believes everything he says, and then I turn around and go, "It's Cam Newton. Yeah, he believes everything he says."
People still quote what OJ's putting on X or Twitter. Okay, OJ fucking Simpson. Okay, so it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, it just depends on what. By the way, OJ's first tweet, he had he got his first Twitter like 5 years ago or something like that, or 4 years ago, and wow, he's never been all that bright in the first place. But take away. But I mean, Cam, you're right. I mean, they got you know it sounds so insane when I say it. All that money that they're going to make is not going to last forever. I mean, Jesus, I say that and go, God, if I could just get that million, I can figure out how to live on it for the rest of my life. Not in today's world, not in today's athletes, not today's what's going on, how money is spent by the athletes and what they spend it on and things of that sort. It's really interesting. They can't all be Pat McAfee. Listen, McAfee's show. Listen, I'm not necessarily a fan of Pat McAfee's show. I am a fan of what he has put together, and obviously
Yeah.
he's sitting over on ESPN and making more money than right now Stephen A. Smith, which he's not very happy about. But it is what it is. As far as where he is and what he has done to build that brand to make it what it is, and never mind what he did in WrestleMania the couple of times that he's been in. I was pretty. I kind of like McAfee. But
I've grown to like McAfee a lot. So yeah, it's
you learn to like. That's a great way of saying it. You learn to like him.
Yeah. So I like his show because it's a little bit of Dan Patrick, but it's more wrestle based,
Right.
and it's more him standing up, showing the muscles off, and doing what he does. And
in the suit, suit coat. He's wearing a black tank top every day. It's just like it kind of reminds me of me because when I started doing this show, and then I went into Sporting News Radio, they were telling me what to do. And I'm like, wait, this is my show. I'm going to do it my way. I don't need help from you. Yeah, and he kind of kept it, Now, that being said, you can see where ESPN has jumped in and changed his show a little bit. If you watched it before compared to what it is, you see what's going on. He's more of a kiss ass to wherever he's at. And I don't think the guy ever would have done that before. But at the same time, it is what it is.
You got to play.
Yeah, exactly. You got, so it interestingly enough, here I am, a guy who makes $68 million a year or whatever insane amount of money he makes. It's, and Sonny says, hey, like, what the hell do I know? Anyway, but
it is where when a guy who hosts a show called the Couch Potatoes Sports Show is sitting over here saying, what a sellout. What? Okay. You know what? For $68 million, Sonny, I need you to sit there and kiss our ass a little bit. Can you do that?
It's just like, okay,
yes, sir. How can I do it?
What flavor chapstick do you want? Back to the Jason Garrett days with Jerry Jones. What flavor chapstick? You want vanilla today? But it is what it is. But anyway, all right. So Dallas Cowboys. Hey, listen, they need to step it up and create a little bit more backbone going into the playoffs. They got one more week to find that backbone. Who they got next week?
Washington.
So the fact of the matter is they need to flex their muscle against them. So
they need to put the foot on the throat and get the job done. And in Washington, not an easy task though, because
it never is.
Never is. Records don't mean shit. They're playing on grass. They don't have a great road record right now, which they need to start developing if they're going to win right now because they're winning.
Well, look, like you called it in Miami. I mean, that grass surface, man, just didn't play very well for them, and they're about ready to go into that grass surface again against Washington. And that's
Washington's going to be cold. It could be raining.
That's a good point too. Cold, yeah, depending on the weather.
So.
Although keep them inside where it's about 70, everything's fine.
Although I do have a sister up in Maryland who's a big Cowboys fan, and I know that she'll be up there wishing them all the best, all the best, because she just loves the Dallas Cowboys even more than I do. And so I'm excited that she'll get to see that game. I don't know if she's gonna go to it or not, but I know that she loves it when they're up there. So,
by the way, big shout out to Big Red Butch Wesson. It's his birthday today. A happy birthday to one of our guys when we're doing high school football. He's going to be helping out. He doesn't know this, but he's going to be doing a lot more than what he used to do.
News. Happy birthday! Your birthday gift here, Butch.
Hey, you got more stuff that you're going to do. Happy birthday to you. But it is what so. But definitely happy birthday to one of my good friends out there, and So, by the way, it's New Year's Eve. You're going to get you got to work. You're not going to get your drink on tonight. No, you're not going to get your drink.
No, I have to deal with other idiots who are getting their drinks on.
By the way, I live in a 55 plus community now, and they're having a New Year's Eve party, and I'm just wondering, what time it ends. It starts at 8, so I think it's over at 10. I don't know where they make it up to the midnight. I don't know. I know I won't. It's just like I'll probably be in bed by 10:30. I could care less about New Year's Eve and all the drinking and stuff that
I've had to work Christmas Eve and not New Year's Eve at my place of employment this year. Let me tell you something. The level of stupidity that goes from Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve is
I can't even imagine.
Staggering. I mean, like as bad as Christmas Eve was, everybody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is awful." I'm like, we're 7 days away from the worst day of the year, and it's the first day of the year. Because it's great. It's not fun.
Not fun. No, and speaking of casinos, Cuervo is in. He was at the. I don't know if he's staying at the Bellagio, but he was at the Bellagio last night, drinking some adult beverages. So we don't know if we're gonna get Cuervo in here today. which is completely and utterly understandable. I wonder how he's doing on his actual bets as far as the NFL is concerned. So I did, yeah. I was like, wait a second, did I put out the invite to get into the show? Here you are, so I guess I did. So, don't know anybody else's schedule going through, but let's go back to Thursday night football. Thursday night
Okay.
football had an interesting game, but not the fact that too many people were on the Jets. Let's be honest. But it's more of the Cleveland Browns story and where they're doing it with and how they're doing it with Joe Flacco. I think it's a really, it kind of reminds me of the Von Erich. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had a lot of success in Baltimore. Then after his Baltimore glory days, he just kind of wallowed in mediocrity. And now he's getting an opportunity here yet again,
Mm-hmm.
and moving forward with the Cleveland Browns. And say whatever you want about Joe Flacco. This guy's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He knows
Mm-hmm.
how to win. And more on the fact is that he's got a team in reality that if you kind of look back up on the Baltimore Ravens back in the day, it's kind of almost like the same, a good defense. I mean, he played with a good defense with the Baltimore Ravens. He doesn't have to be special per se in order for them to have success, and that's obvious based upon where he is in his career. It was the Jets too at the same time, but we taught, and Obi is the one that taught me the expression, you got to put your foot on their throat and just push down even more, and they did on Thursday night football. And against the Jets they won by 17. And now, granted, it wasn't a Dallas Cowboy, ripping them by 40, kind of thing, but it's still a statement game for the Cleveland Browns going into the playoffs as they clinch their playoff spot. And that should be really interesting to see where the Browns end up, especially looking at the AFC North and how that is actually playing out as far as where they are compared to the other teams in that division of football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, the he reminds me of Nick Foles. That's who he reminds me of. He he took over a situation and he managed it very well and got a ring out of it. I think he
Mm-hmm.
has the opportunity to do it this year. It is the Browns. I think they have a chance to spoil a few things, but their way through this world is going to have to go through Baltimore, and that's going to be a hard
Well,
task.
Well, anybody going through Baltimore, that's going to be a tough task. I mean, the Ravens 12-3. We'll talk about that game. As far as they are at home, they're actually better on the road. They're 7-1 on the road. They're 5-2 at home, being Baltimore. But Browns right behind them at 11-5. So depending on how this ends up going, obviously a win will wrap up the AFC North for them with a win today, which that we'll talk about that game, because that's not just a hey, the Ravens are going to win this game kind of thing. But the Ravens have won 5 in a row. The Browns have won 4 in a row. I mean, you're just looking at how this division in reality is shaping up. I mean, we're not talking about the Steelers and Bengals, but they're both 8-7, pretty much out of the playoff race in reality. So you're seeing, the Browns making their way to the top in the division, or at least being competitive, and they haven't been that way since who? Baker Mayfield. That's right. I just said it. Baker Mayfield, who is actually making a play for being maybe the starter for maybe a couple more years in Tampa Bay. And so we're not, we're seeing a different type of Cleveland Brown team. And someone said it in our chat, Stavanovich probably should be in the talk of Coach of the Year based upon what's going on. Now, granted, that defense is really what's putting it together, but at the same time, being smart enough to go out to get that kind of quarterback and be able to make them successful in that offense in order for them to get the victories that they have been getting and having the record where they are. So, I mean, I'm looking at Coach of the Year now. I don't know who you got as far as on the top of your list as far as Coach of the Year, but thinking about all of the coaches that are in this league, who do you think is right up there as far as Coach of the Year is concerned?
I'm right now. I'm thinking the Miami coach.
I forget that. I see what that little dork. I see what that little dork
McDaniel.
looks like.
McDaniel, yeah, right.
Yeah,
But
yeah, McDaniel.
yeah, I mean, he. Oh, by the way, we have late NASCAR news. If you have a second,
Sure, but is it breaking news?
breaking news: legendary racer Kelly Yarbrough passed away.
Oh, that is wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I even know of him. I'm not a big NASCAR, but I know who he is. So, wow,
yeah.
interesting. So,
He used to drive
breaking news.
he used to drive the number 28 Hardee's car. So
Got it. So, wow, he was a young cat. Still, he wasn't old per se.
born in 39. So he's up there in years. Yeah. So I mean, he lived
He was a
in
he was
he lived in the
a
80s.
80 years old. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, let's get serious. He's not
That's
a young
years.
cat.
Okay,
But
well, that's
yeah,
the way.
he's a young cat, man. Yeah, just what, 70 or
Uh,
80 years old? And come on, I mean,
84 years
80,
old.
that's wow. So, but yeah, I mean,
You're worth it,
I'm
aren't
not.
you? You're
No,
worth it.
I do know what he looks like, though. I do know what he looks like, which
Yeah.
is incredible. It's lucky to remember what anybody looks like. Jeez Louise. So anyway, looking at, by the way, a friend of mine, Bobby Watson in Facebook, he got op or photo op with Shane McMahon when he was
Oh, nice.
here in Dallas. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. And by the way, I've met Shane McMahon. I actually had like maybe a 4 minute conversation with him. It's weird. I mean, he takes time out with people. And I was telling Bobby that, and he said, yeah, we sat there and talked. I mean, literally, he said he talked to him close to, in between 7 and 8 minutes, he thought. And for a guy like that to give you 7 minutes, regardless, I mean, that that just tells you something about him. I always kind of like Shane McMahon in reality, whether it was in the ring or how he did. I think it's funny. There is a McMahon on the contract, but it's Shane McMahon. I just love that. I remember
Mhm.
that like it was yesterday, and so I always kind of like what he has done in the wrestling business. So just
You know what? Though, I'm kind of sad here. I just added Kelly Yarbrough to my list of Facebook deaths from 2023.
I yeah, and
I gotta start a new folder here tomorrow.
well, you got to start it up.
Yeah,
Get
hey,
busy.
look, I know we're off the football path here real quick, but just people who have died this past year: Jeff Beck, Lisa Marie Presley, I'm sorry, Robbie Knievel. Let's see here,
Just a few just recently.
David Crosby, Bobby Hull, Sidney Williams
Mhm.
from the Lauren and Shirley, Lenny
Bobby
Papa.
Hull. Bobby
Yeah,
Hull surprised me
yeah,
because Robbie Hull, he's not. I mean, he's not young, but this guy's not
right,
falling off the face.
right.
So for God's sake.
Randy Savage's brother, Lanny Poffo, the genius, he passed away.
Yep.
Raquel Welch, she passed. Tim McCarver, Richard Belzer, Tom Sizemore, who finally passed, Robert Blake, Bud Grant, former coach of the Vikings.
Yep.
See here, Bushwhacker Butch, Al Jaffe, the guy who created Mad Magazine or developed Mad
Yes,
Magazine.
I remember that one.
Yeah. See here, Lynn Goodman from Dance with the Stars, Harry Belafonte, Jerry Springer passed this past year, Gordon
Yep.
Lightfoot,
Hmm.
superstar Billy Graham, Jim Brown, legendary Jim Brown passed, Tina Turner passed, the Iron Sheik, Cheeky Baby, Pat Robinson, thank God, I'm sure he's burning in hell, Ted Kazansky, Treat Williams, Sue Johansson, Alan Arkin,
Who was
Charles
that
Dawes.
wrestler just passed about 3 days ago?
There's a wrestler pastor as well.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
he
uh,
did the claw, but not the
I got Killer Con pass yesterday.
yeah, kill it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed. So
To Tony Bennett, Shane O'Connor, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens. Let's see here, it's Terry Funk, Bray Wyatt, of course, Bob Barker, Gil Brandt, former Cowboy great. Is Gil Brandt in the Ring of Honor?
no, I don't think he is.
He should be.
I don't think. Well,
He should be. I mean, he was part of the brain trust of putting those teams together back in the day.
Yeah, but I don't think he's up there. Well, would Jerry give him credit?
He should. I
Well,
mean,
he should have put
hey,
Jimmy Johnson in
well,
the
look,
Ring of Honor at least 10 years ago, max. For
look.
God's sake. But his
It's
ego wouldn't let it happen.
it's hard to put someone in the Ring of Honor when they can't be there to celebrate it. So it's kind of a hard thing, I guess. But I
I
think
guess that makes sense.
Jimmy Buffett, Brooks Robinson, Tim Wakefield, Dick Butkus, Walt Garrison,
Tim Wakefield, that's right, the pitcher. He passed away.
Yeah. Suzanne Summers, Burt Young from Rocky, Richard Roundtree, Shaft, Richard Mole from Night Court,
Shut your mouth.
Matthew Perry, that was a big one. Bobby Knight.
That was Bobby passing.
By the way, in a 3-bedroom apartment right now, you have Richard Mole, Matthew Perry, and Bobby Knight. Good luck with all of that. Kim Mattingly, he's portrayed by Gary Sinise in Apollo 13. Rosalind Carter, Jimmy Carter's wife.
Yep.
Henry Kissinger.
I wonder how long he's going to make it. You know what I'm saying?
He's been in hospice for like 8 months, so I don't know.
I was like, I mean, he was supposed to pass before his wife, at least my understanding on everything I read. And then Rosalind went. I'm actually surprised we haven't heard of his passing yet. Probably sad day, by the way. You want to talk about a humanitarian? This guy was working for working at what is that, Habitat for Humanity. I mean, he's building houses at what? I mean, guy's like at 90 years old, for God's sake.
Yeah, he is. We lost Norman Lear. Ralph Cirillo, who probably nobody knows, but he was Howard Stern's hairdresser, but he was a big part of the show. Exactly.
I remember him. I remember him.
Ryan O'Neal, another NFL great, Frank Wycheck, former tight end for the Titans.
Yeah. That one shocked me. He died of cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Of course, my dog Bear passed away. I put him in there.
Pretty famous.
Tom Smothers passed away a couple days ago.
Yep, Tommy Smothers.
Killer Khan. Now it's Kelly Yarbrough. So it's been a hell of a year. It's been a hell of a year. By the way, currently, if everything goes in threes, right now, if the year ended, Kelly Yarbrough is in a 3-bedroom house all by his lonesome, whereas the previous one would have had Colin Burris, the original drummer for AC/DC. You'd have had Tom Smothers, and you had Killer Khan in one 3-bedroom apartment. Which, by the way, and on the Offshoots TV show, we're going to be introducing the trifecta segment to where we'll be doing the 3-bedroom apartment thing out, and there's going to be a singular thing on the Offshoots network on YouTube.
By the way, I will work on that intro. It's just a matter of finding some time.
We need the daily grind, sir. Come on.
But you're not gonna start on the 2nd, are you? You're gonna wait until the week after, right?
I was gonna start on the 1st, which is tomorrow.
You're gonna start. Well, you ain't getting it before then, but I'll get you one here as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a lot of work to do.
I've got to get with her and find out when's her start date again, and it really be so we can start promoting it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. All right. So interesting games so far this week. There's a lot of playoff ramifications going on in today's games, as far as who's going to end what, or will one team be able to jump and grab that home game, by winning the division, or starting off at the game that we're going to start off with, that being Miami and Baltimore today. This is a great game to get started with, and I'll tell you the reason why is because the storyline. Forget about Baltimore. Baltimore's Baltimore, and they're sitting at the top. But losing this game does not help, Baltimore at all. In fact, it puts them at risk of maybe losing the top spot in the AFC to get that bye. That being said, Miami, they get the victory today. This is going to be very interesting for them. depending on who else loses in order for them to get the opportunity to get the first round bye on the AFC side. So this one here is an important game for both of them, depending on where the mindset of your football team is in week 17, which is normally the end of the season, but we got one more week to go. Since they added that extra game. So looking at this game, I mean, you got Miami. Miami is doing what they do. They're respectful. Say whatever you want as far as what they are about. Dolphins are 11-4. Okay, you look
Okay.
at Baltimore Ravens; they're 12-3. Go ahead.
No, you're right. No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty much putting it on the line, and then it'll be all about tiebreakers. And I don't know all the tiebreakers, but it still will be interesting to watch. But here, I think about this: the Chiefs right now, they're going to get a home game. Probably they're going to win that AFC West. After that, though, we're talking about the Chiefs on the road. I mean, in reality, as far as where a team is going to end up and what they're not, I don't know. Interestingly enough, I like this game. This might be the game of the week in reality.
This game should have been
With
flexed a long time ago.
Oh my God, I was sitting there thinking the same thing. I mean, that this is a game that really needs to be in prime time so people can watch it and see. Listen, now we can go back 5 years on the Couch Potato Sports Show
This
and
game's a
me
12 o'clock
tearing
game too.
down
This
what?
game's a 12 o'clock game too.
Yeah, it's an early game. So
Jesus.
yeah, and speaking of that, I gotta get everything connected so I can get back up on my last week I didn't watch Red Zone because I was processing moving, getting everything set up. So it didn't,
Right.
but this week I gotta get that up and watching because I think this might be the game of the week to watch as far as, and then obviously the playoff implications and how it falls down as far as the divisions that each one that are in. Dolphins up on top, 2 games over Buffalo. Say whatever you want. This is not a game for the Dolphins to lose if they are going to still try to win this division. I mean, Buffalo's probably, they got the Patriots today. So, not probably a lot to talk about there, but as far as the standings are concerned, it definitely can change it. Put Buffalo at 10-6, and if the Dolphins lose, they'll be 11-5. So, with
Right.
1 week to go, so something to look at within that division of football as far as that's concerned. But now looking at the game, you got two on one side. You got Jackson doing. Listen, Jackson's the MVP. Listen. I called it at week 10. I said if Jackson can stay healthy for the rest of the year, this guy's going to win the MVP, and that's exactly what's going on here. And listen, it's not the fact that this guy can throw the football compared to most of the running quarterbacks. Okay, if you look at Fields, just using him as an example, the Fields can't throw the football. You got Lamar Jackson who can throw the football. He's pretty accurate even deep down the field.
He's got
So
weapons
it's
around
an
him too. That
interesting
helps.
guy. And it depends on what you think are weapons. Okay, but
He's a guy that can catch the ball.
well. Yeah, we talked about Baltimore's quote unquote weapons for years, and now they get Odell Beckham Jr. If you want to call him a weapon, you can go ahead. I'm not saying he's washed up by any stretch, but he is not the same impact player that he used to be 4 or 5 years ago. But still, compared to what Baltimore had before he got there, that is a weapon for him to use. Losing Andrews was a big spot for this football team in the tight end position. But what has happened here is really kind of interesting. Lamar Jackson is he's saying all the right things and doing all the right things, but most importantly, staying healthy. Yeah. Other side though, looking at what Tua is doing with the real weapons, the 1-2-3 punch that he has that he can throw the football to. A pretty interesting game in line. But looking at what Baltimore did with 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions last week, against the 49ers, last week's game against the 49ers might have solidified who the Baltimore Ravens are going to be for the rest of the season and in the playoffs.
I think they're the front runners in the AFC for sure. Now, once again, I'm not saying Cleveland can't spoil that, but
No,
I think
any
I think I,
given game.
I think all roads lead through Baltimore first, and then if you can get through Baltimore and get around that, then we'll talk about what's going on with the AFC. What Baltimore did to San Francisco though, that was eye opening because people looked at San Francisco like they're the unbeatable team, although they've been beat a few times. And you knock them off their horse this late in the game,
Yes,
and shake that confidence that they got. I mean, they got Washington today, which is okay. We can laugh at that all we want. Let's say a miracle happens and we all lose this pick, but let's say Washington beats the Niners. I don't
they're never
disagree.
going to give it to a running back.
Yeah, I don't disagree if they would give that to a running back. I mean, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Nope.
Let's say the Niners are so shook that they fall asleep today and they lose to Washington. I don't know who they finish out the season with. I know it's a team that's like Washington, but I do know that a lot of pissed off 49er fans that are not going to be happy with that. And let's face it, you go down, that would make their fifth loss if that happens. They're tied with the Cowboys then.
Yep.
And then
and the Commanders have nothing to lose to go out there and go balls in the walls up against San Francisco today. So the 49ers better come to somewhat play today.
And they are playing. I think they are playing in Washington. So
they are playing in Washington.
So I'm not saying that Washington has any home field advantage whatsoever because they don't have a home team advantage ever at all. So I mean, but look, it could be Washington. I mean, that Washington defense could be really scary. It could be really scary, though. I mean, I've always said about Washington, they're playing for Ron Rivera, and I'm saying Ron Rivera, he ain't going to be there next year, but definitely, I think, I know the players like him a lot, and they know they let him down. So I think we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if this would be a game where the Niners kind of fall asleep behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And in today's game, Baltimore and Miami will backtrack to that. I was looking at the numbers, and all the numbers are Baltimore. I mean, in reality, and that part scares me. In reality, when you got these two type of teams coming together, so it's like, because knee-jerk reaction, well, who's really more electric in reality? You got the two most electric teams in the NFL based upon who's on the field at any given time. And looking at what's going on, the bad thing about this, unless the Miami defense shows up here today, which there's no telling what Miami's defense will do today. I mean, you look at them; they're middle of the pack on most things except for sacks. They do get to the quarterback, but that's not a regular quarterback that they're playing. They're playing Lamar Jackson, okay? They normally get about 3.5 sacks a game. I don't know if they're going to get that today with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with you. 100% agree. Look, it's going to be a good game. The fact that they didn't flex it, I think that's a crime the NFL's committed with the fans. 3 o'clock have been great. Hell, flex it to Monday Night Football. Do something, because now that nobody knows what channel the games are going to be played on nowadays, what days they're going to be playing on, because I totally forgot Cowboys were playing yesterday. I was like, oh shit! It's like what channel? And then I was like, well, Troy's going to be there.
The method behind the madness drives me nuts. That's my problem.
Right?
It's just like, geez, really? I mean, come on. And by the way, that game that got switched, the Cowboy game, I mean, I'm not sure when that got switched or if that was at the beginning of the season. But boy, oh boy, can you thinking about the implications of that game, how that got into a primetime game. I mean, it was genius if Jerry got it maneuvered or whatever the case may be. I don't remember.
You know what though? The NFL probably looks at that and goes, "What we'll get is the better ratings. The Cowboys playing anybody." Or the Ravens in Miami, because love them or hate them, Dallas generates a number. and it pisses people off because it pisses the haters off because they don't know why. But yet they're the ones watching because they're sitting there going, I don't get this. But you're adding to the problem. You're watching the show. You're giving them the rating that they want them to have. So
but Jimmy said it last night. Jimmy said it last night.
What he said last night. I like for all those who despise this team, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. It was perfect. By the way, that was obviously Jimmy Johnson getting in the Ring of Honor.
I watched that thing on YouTube, and I was starting to well up a little bit because just seeing those players, how much love they got for that man, and to see him finally get his spade, and to see the triplets.
Even the players that didn't play for him.
Oh, I know.
Got a lot of love for him because of obviously their relationship being Dallas Cowboys.
I think Jimmy had Randy White for 1 year.
Did he? I didn't know. Yeah, I know he didn't have Dorsett. And Dorsett was there last night, which, by the way, he still looks good.
Looks great. It's too bad he's not up here mentally right now, but he looked in good spirits yesterday, which I really did like. To see the triplets right there behind him, Troy, Emmett, and Michael, and to see him get in there right there with Michael Irvin, who's the other biggest loudmouth of the group. And right there by Emmett, and love him or hate him, Michael Irvin, he knows how to sell.
I hate him. I hate him. He's a punk, but he is. He's Hall of Fame, 3 Super Bowl winning. Actually,
he's got 3. Yeah, look, he knows how to sell. Okay, bottom line. So, and
to the right audience, I guess you could say, depending on if you listen to a lippy punk.
but even to the wrong audience, people want to. He's like Stephen A. Smith, right? Stephen A. Smith. Who you know what? I hate his opinions, but I love his presentation. Okay, because it sells. It sells to me as a fan who will sit there and you know what? Maybe he's right about some stuff that he's right, and maybe I don't want to hear it. But at the same time, like you know what? Until he's proven wrong, I got to shut up about it because right now he's proven. Right now, it's like if anything good goes on that you've actually called. You're the first one to sit there and say, I pointed this out. And I'm like, okay, well, then that's your Stephen A. Smith moment. Awesome for you. So,
by the way, I've had many moments where Stephen A. has been in my archives. I'd say something about 5 weeks before, and then all of a sudden Stephen A. is talking about it, and everybody's going, wow, yeah, no, Sonny brought that up. That was one of my biggest complaints about it. I think he was diving into my archives. And
I'm sure he's trying to do that. I'm sure he's going to I'm sure Stephen's going to let me go find the 2 biggest white people I've ever seen and get their opinions, all right? Yeah.
Gotta be pretty desperate to go into my archives, for God's sake. But, hey, Stephen A. is who he is.
Well, but then your show is being seen also on Offshoots on the Offshoots Network as well. So clearly,
watch out! Hey,
I mean,
clearly picked up another 50 viewers, man. Thank you, by the way.
At 75, sir. But
anyway. But this one's going to be good. But by the way, who are you going to pick? I mean, is there something that has you going for one team for the other?
I'm going to go Baltimore on this game because home field advantage. I think that plays a major part. Different weather conditions, Baltimore compared to Miami.
A little cooler.
I think Baltimore's got a better defense to contend with that Miami offense.
Yes,
and that says a lot concerning the fact that Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle and they're running their two-headed running back machine can do a lot of damage. But if they get to Tua early and shake them, that's game. Tua he's what, second year now? Is that right? Second or third year?
Who?
Tua.
No. Tua's in his 4th year. This is Tua's 4th year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's still kind of.
I think this is a perfect place for Tua. I mean, think about.
I'm not saying it's not a perfect place. I'm saying that if they get to him and they shake him and they shake his confidence early, then the Baltimore's got this. And once again, that home field advantage, getting the former dog pound to get after that and do their thing. I'm it's going to be a good game. Well, like last night's game, I said it was going to be close regardless, and it was. And I think we're looking at maybe a 2 to 3 point kind of game here. Could be overtime, could be whatever. I got Baltimore though in the long run only because of home field.
Looking at that defense on what Baltimore did to the 49ers last week. I mean, now granted, these are two different offenses. I mean, the different type of implosion that we saw from the 49ers, I don't think we're going to get with the Miami Dolphins because of the Tyreek Hill presence takes on a total different level than what you seen last week, because really when you were thinking about Baltimore and the 49ers, they just needed to stop two people, that being Brock Purdy with the interceptions and Christian McCaffrey, and they were able to do it. It's hard to, and I hate to say this because it makes OBB right, which makes me, it's hard to guard speed. I mean, speed is something that you just can't cover. And, and the fact of the matter is you can have, average players on your football team. But if you're Tyreek Hill and you're just getting hit as soon as you catch the ball, that doesn't help your football team. But the problem with any defense is not the fact that he can catch the ball, it's what he does after the ball. It's all about the yakety yak up on that. And in reality, listen, I almost picked Miami because of the desperation of where they are as far as the team is concerned. The division also where they stand right now. They know Buffalo's probably going to win today, so a loss here really kind of hurts them. So whether or not that they'll step up and get the win is going to be the biggest question. But this will be a Tyreek Hill show. And a Waddle show. And if they don't double up on one and they play them singular, this could be a very interesting game defensively for Baltimore, because how are they going to defend the 1-2 punch? Never mind the 3-punch and the running game that's going to be coming their way in this game. I think that's what makes this game so much different. And I was going to be on Baltimore in this, but I changed my pick more in the fact because I think in reality, when I looked at the game, Baltimore, I snap judged Baltimore, and I remember what they did last week. And then I decided up on that. How are they going? As good as defensively that the Baltimore Ravens are, how are they going to stop Waddle? How are they going to stop Hill? Now, if Miami can't stop what Baltimore's going to do offensively, I could be probably wrong. I could be wrong in reality, but I think this type of game is going to bring out the best in what's going to be coming from Miami, because I don't think they want to lose it. This is like a mini playoff game for in reality for Miami, who hasn't been there in a long time. Baltimore has been there but not got the wins. But this is like the 1A of playoffs in reality, going up against really a tough football team. I'm gonna go Miami because of what Obi said. You can't. It's going to be hard regardless of what's going on. And as good as that that Raven defense is, I don't think they're going to be able to stop Hill and Waddle at the same time. So I'm gonna roll with that as far as Miami is concerned. I am going to go with the Miami Dolphins in a mild upset. And you're right. I think this one's going to be close to the end, and I think one more play is going to be made, and I'm going to go on the Miami side. Watch me be wrong, of course. But by the way, I got the just in case you didn't know, I got the products that were need to be. I'm just listen. I can't give 5 points from 5 or 6 points wherever I'm behind to beat you. So I'm pretty much succeeding to the fact that you have beat me this year. So that's why I went out and bought, got it. So I'll be ready.
So glad I didn't want to grow my hair for a full year. I did not want to do that.
Well, I didn't think that was the bet. I thought you were going to do the same thing as me, but maybe I just don't. I've been knocked in the head many times.
I would, but
but anyway, but we're on the different sides and no one's wrong in this pick. They're both good football teams. This should be really a really interesting thing. So that being said, let's go across on the other side of that, and probably not much to talk about, but just more in the fact that the playoff spots that this game really has on it for Buffalo. I mean, obviously, if Miami loses, they're one game behind in this division. So that's something to look at as far as who's going to do what and when they're going to do it. But you know, New England, they're going to say bye their head coach probably at the end of this year.
There's no
Swan
problem. There's no problem about that.
Yeah, they've made that decision. A swan song in reality going up against, in reality for the last 2 seasons, or 3 seasons, the Buffalo Bills have been the standard in the AFC North, or in the AFC East. So the fact of the matter is that Buffalo needs this football game, not because in reality that they're vying for playoff spot and positioning. No, this is more in the fact that they got to get their heads out of their ass before they go into the playoffs. And if you don't beat this New England Patriots football team, or kind of beat the hell out of them, what does that say about Buffalo going into the playoffs? I mean, they've been kind of defining what they're doing for the last 4 to 5 weeks, which is a mediocre football team that has an opportunity to maybe show up in the playoffs and make some noise.
You know what? Who's the quarterback today? Is it Zappy or is Zappy or is it?
Zappy is going to be the is going to quarterback it. Yes, definitely.
Look, God bless him. I know he's trying his best out there, but he is so overwhelmed. By what's thrown at him right now, and Buffalo's going to see that. They're going to see the blood in the water, and they're going to go after it. And clearly, Belichick, I think, is pretty much checked out anyway. So I think he knows. If he
spread's 14.5. Look. Sometimes you just get bitch slapped, before you even take.
I'm sure Belichick looks at the newspaper, sees. Oh, we're favored to lose by 14. Okay, what other coaching jobs available out there? So I'm like, where he lands is going to be interesting. And I think when we start doing the hot stove league thing for the NFL, that'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
But Buffalo knows they have to win. They know that Miami has to win.
Yes,
to keep ahead of them, to keep with them. So it's in their best interest to put their best foot forward, shut down New England early on, rest their players in the second half of the game, and then worry about next week. Because again, it's so hard to sit there and say, well, we need to win this week, and we make sure our players are safe for next week in the playoffs.
Well, they got the Dolphins next week. I mean, so it don't get easy it doesn't get easy for the Bills in reality. So they got to look at this as an open scrimmage to make sure that they got guys where they need to play, because they're going to have to defend that. And hey, if the Dolphins beat the Ravens today, that changes the whole tune of this game in reality. I think.
Well, also for that matter, if New England beats the Bills.
Exactly.
So I mean, the thing is, if the Bills win and Miami loses, then next week will not matter.
I agree, but in reality, it does, because going into the playoffs.
But as far as the importance of seeding and everything else, that will not matter, because
that probably won't. Yeah.
So those and they'll have the one. So if they lose. If they lose next week, if the Bills lose next week to Miami, after Miami loses today and Bills win today, it won't matter. they can play their start. They can start their backups, and just say, "Look, we're gonna be safe." And you know what? This is why fantasy football leagues do not play the entire season. Okay, because of weeks like that. So. Which, by the way,
look at it. Well, also, kind of next week, if Miami gets the victory, this would be against a good football team. We compared them to the Dallas Cowboys. Well, who have they played? I mean, they got a great record, but who have they played? And the Miami Dolphins are one of them. And so today is a good game for them. And obviously, last week, two good teams, playoff teams in reality going into the playoffs. And which, by the way, they could end up meeting these same two teams not more than 2 weeks into the playoffs. So it could be really interesting how that plays out.
That's a hell I wouldn't ask for. That's a hell I wouldn't ask for.
Hey, it is what it is. But that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. That scenario, I think, could be really interesting going in for the last 2 weeks of the game. But that also being said, I got somebody in the green room.
Can you dig it, sucker?
And I can dig it week in, week out. Got the mad love for my man. By the way, he should be feeling pretty good about this week. I don't know. Is he? I think after last week, come on. Bryce from Brooklyn is in the house. But by the way, that also being said, just in case anybody doesn't know, look who else shows up on a Sunday morning. Man, New Year's Eve, it's Obi-Wan. How you doing, Obi? Good to see you. What's that ugly hat you got on? What?
So it's called cahoots. It's a new pet store in our neighborhood. So they were handing out free hats. It's like,
I thought it was a Browns hat, so I had to kind of give you one. But
Happy New Year, everyone. And
Happy New Year, Bryce. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, aren't you feeling good about your Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way? I mean, after that win, I mean, you got them winning today, right? I mean, you got to be feeling good, going into this one. Maybe not.
Sonny, listen. Hold on. I just gotta say that it's only fitting that on the last day of the year, Obi would not let us get away with him not showing up.
I love it.
And
we have one more week.
And taking his props. I don't think anyone saw. I think they saw a team that had some talent, but I don't think anyone saw the way that this season has gone for his Cleveland Browns. And I just think,
oh no,
we get into all this. Obi has to have the floor. He has to. We have to give him his respect. Give his coach, who I think is the coach of the year, their respect. Welcome back to respectability. This is how you know your franchise is moving in the right direction. As much as it makes me want to throw up over my laptop to say, when you can sustain these type of injuries, build a roster. What do I always say? You build your roster from 22 to 53.
Yes.
That's what moves you on.
Yeah, and I've been saying that for years.
Have found a way to step up into the big boy leagues with the upper echelon organizations and somehow keep the ship afloat and play winning football and look the best they've looked in years. I got to
get the way that they could have very easily. They haven't played this good since Baker Mayfield was the quarterback for this football team. Yeah, I just said it. Baker Mayfield was one of the reasons why they ended up where they ended up.
You couldn't help yourself. You just couldn't help yourself.
Hey, listen. It was a mistake. I mean, you, as far as what it is, you cannot tell me that they're in a better position today than they were with Baker Mayfield, even with the success that they're having. You can't tell me that everybody, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to end up right here. Yeah, with Joe Flacco, a guy who was about ready to check out of the NFL and not even play anymore. But hey, by the way, kudos to him. So, I mean, Jimbo, a big Obi. I mean, we kind of briefly talked about it, but Joe Flacco, your nemesis, is leading your football team into the playoffs, by the way. Playoff bound. They're officially in the playoffs. So you got to be feeling really good, and not necessarily because of Joe Flacco, but more so you're looking at that defense and you got a person that can, and what everybody's saying, whether it's Cam Newton or whatever, a guy that can manage your team to get you to a win, but not be the reason why you don't win. and I think you should be pretty happy with. Are you happy with what's going on regarding Joe Flacco?
I am happy. I just can't. I cannot. I
Can't believe it.
I continue to pinch myself and say, I can't believe that the New York Jets, Jets, whatever else, why they did not give Joe Flacco a call. They should have been giving Joe Flacco a call at halftime of their very first game after Aaron Rodgers.
That's because he didn't do it very well when he was there the first time, Obi.
But I mean, isn't he better than what they have now? I mean, come on.
I don't know. Well, based upon his play,
is he better than Zach Wilson?
Oh yeah.
Look at that window.
Last year,
everybody's better than Zach Wilson. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm giddy that they were able to give him a call as he's sitting down for his Thanksgiving dinner, and says, "Hey, we want you to come and work out for us." And I can't, I don't want to say and jinx any. You know me, Sonny. I'm very, very superstitious, and so I'm not gonna jinx nothing. But yes, I do. As Bryce from Brooklyn, yes, I do have a good smile today. I've been happy for like over a week, except for on Friday night when my Buckeyes threw up all over themselves. And Ryan Day his way out of a paper bag, a wet paper bag. Dude, I mean, I was literally yelling at the
TV after Michigan, though.
Saying, what the hell? Let's just run the ball 2 times and throw it on 3rd down. Is that working? No. Why do we continue to run it? But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. Yes, I am happy. But what I would like to know is, Podfather, were you sweating bullets last night as the Lions are driving down and the Cowboys are playing prevent defense, which prevents you from winning?
These are the stories today. The Cowboys and the Browns. This is what we got to focus on today.
Yeah.
Look. Okay. To give you an idea of how my night went last night, I'm at work. I kind of forgot early in the day the Cowboys were playing that night. I totally forgot about it because, I've been working with the holiday concerts and everything else at my job. So I'm there. I'm sitting there going, okay, well the Cowboys are playing, so I'll keep tabs on my phone. It's like they're up 7-3. So I'm heading home, and and I'm heading into Oklahoma, and I start losing the Cowboy radio network as it starts to phase out a little bit. But I got to hear a little bit of they went to halftime, whatever it was, and I got to hear the halftime thing on the radio, which is cool. I get home. I got 5 minutes left, and Dallas gets the lead. Thinking, okay, just nurse this thing. Dak, for some reason, with 2 minutes left, throws the ball 3 different times. Not run the damn ball. Okay.
Dak doing that thing.
I mean, how the coach is going to go? If you gotta make a change of play, fine. Make it a running play. I don't care. Just kill. Milk the clock. Do what you got to do. They only had one timeout, I think it was. So once they kicked the ball back over to the Lions, and then, like you said, they went into prevent defense, and that's a Dan Quinn thing. I don't know why he decided to do that and not play Dan Quinn defense at that time.
Yes.
But that's what gets me more than anything. The fact that he let them drive down the field in 5 plays? 4
or 5 plays, yep.
And then they got the touchdown. Then I'm sitting there going, well, okay, here we go, 2-point conversion. They hit it first, then the mix up between who was the eligible receiver. Okay, I mean, rules are rules. Just saying. Yeah. Then you go into the second time they're going to go out. I love Dan Campbell. I hope he becomes the coach of the Cowboys one day. I don't think it's going to happen, but I hope he becomes coach of the Cowboys one day because I love his mentality. I love that player mentality of he coaches like we all play Madden football. Okay, yeah. He wants to go at all costs, right? And I love the press conference at the end. He just walked out and said, "To hell with it. I wanted to win. I hate losing." So I love that. But to miss the second time with the interception, and of course, Parsons was called offsides. Damn it, give it back to him one more time. I'm like, no. The third time, then wherever it was, where he just incomplete pass. I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow. I've never seen a more explosive 2-point conversion attempts ever. And that was awesome. I mean, it was for two teams that are pretty much even right now. I think if they play again, and if they do, it'll be in Detroit. If they play again, Detroit gets the upper hand and they beat the Cowboys. That's just the mentality that is further coached with Campbell than it is with McCarthy.
I fully agree.
I think on a different field, especially in Detroit, it'll be a different story. As a fan, I'm happy. Clearly, I'll take a win as I can take it. It helps. It helps a big time because now I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if for some way the Commanders pull off a freaking miracle and beat the Niners, they slide. Eagles are still going up. If the Eagles can lose today to the Cardinals, which once again I'm hoping for, Lord Jesus, I'm asking a lot here. I know, but look. It's your time of year, okay? Make me a believer. So
even God can't even do that for you.
Lord, you say you can do a lot of things. Prove it right now. But I mean, watch lightning strike. I have a very thin house. Watch lightning strike right through my house. Anyway, look.
There you go. Plus, you got a magnet for the lightning strike.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all sorts of shit all around me, too,
Mr. Chair Shot.
Once again, I never
anyway.
With I never get with the chair.
Bryce, did you watch the game last night?
I did not watch the game.
Oh, I did. I did.
My wife, she was screaming at the Lions, kick the extra point, tie it up, and I was like, no. They have the momentum. Go for two. You're playing away.
A loss doesn't hurt the Lions in reality. That's the reason why that was all planned out before the loss don't mean anything to the Lions. Yep. However, getting the win, that just I never say there is a what's that thing when you win when you lose, but it's a good thing. What's that saying?
Oh, it's a good
moral victory. Last night was a moral victory because they won that football game. Okay, I'm sorry they did, and you go back and if you didn't watch it, the guy did report. The other guy he either didn't hear or pay attention, or he had his mind on number 70 who was running in from the sideline to check in. So, and by the way, the excuse that was given to Dan Campbell that you can't report, that's not true. He can. And so that was the excuse that he got for the explanation, and it wasn't right. So that was a moral victory. But what is awesome about the whole thing, and you are absolutely right, he was pissed at the press conference. He wasn't happy. He didn't take it as a moral victory, although they really in reality could have. But that dude was pissed. That's why I like him. The guy wears his emotions right here, right on the sleeve.
He's old school. He's old school.
Yes, old school.
Wait, here's the real question. We've got the Podfather on here. We've got Obi on here. The question, and I can't believe I actually have to ask this, are those two teams, Sonny Clark, going to sneak up and take their respective divisions? If that former Ratbird by the end of the season sneaks up on the Ravens and beats them and takes this division,
I don't think they can. I would love this. I would just love to see it. I mean, just more in the fact that it's a great talking point for many weeks to come. But
explode. And if the Dallas Cowboys, too, as much as I like the Podfather, I can't stand the Dallas Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys also sneak up on the other PA team and win that division, my head is going to explode. It is.
Right. Well, the way that the Eagles have been playing for the last month, outside of last week, maybe depending on the situation, it could be a possibility. But by the way, we only talk. Go ahead, Obi.
I was going to say, I do not see the Cardinals beating the Eagles today.
I don't either.
I don't think anybody does. I mean, it's right. I need that point.
Listen,
and that's not what I'm making the stretch on.
Hey, I can hope. I can pray. I won't do that, but I can do all that.
Yeah, but
listen, Podfather, as much as I've only known you for a short time. There have been a few times you've hit me with brass knucks. I know that's how you do your thing. I hate to say this. I am rooting for the Eagles big time today. I do not want to see that. I'm not.
Just God pulled out the steel chair and he is just going to wail all over the Podfather today. So
you might wail all over me with the Cardinals playing good football and actually winning that game.
Good. Yes.
Wait, no. But they have Kyler Murray at quarterback, the Cardinals.
There you go. Now, the game we talked about before you two jumped in, I want to get to. Baltimore is in a game against Miami. I'm sorry. Knee-jerk reaction. Hey, look at what Baltimore did last week to the 49ers. I mean, but we're talking about two totally different offenses. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but usually San Francisco is better. I'm just saying it's different. And this is not going to be. This could be a 4 turnover game. I just don't see it. And and by the way, Podfather will tell you, I gave credit to this guy right here, right down there. I gave credit because the line is you can't defend speed, and you got Tyreek Hill going off here with Baltimore today. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to cover. I'm on Miami, just to let everybody know. That guy over there, he's on Baltimore. What's your take up on the game there, Bryce, as far as Baltimore taking on Miami in Baltimore, by the way?
Let me just start out by saying I have a rooting interest in Baltimore continuing to win, at least this week, not next week, because I want them to win this week, wrap everything up, so then they can rest their starters going into the final week.
That's all.
Yeah. So, but all things being equal, I'm going to just come out. I'm going with the Ravens on this. I think they're just going to be the more physical team. I think Miami can play with some physicality, but coming into the AFC North, they're going to get a dose of physicality being on the road against a team that is trying to lock up a division who, look, they watch stuff too. They see their former teammate who they know plays with some moxie, who plays with moxie, who is breathing down their neck a little bit. You don't want to play around. I know the Dolphins are a good team. You pull out all the stops. You don't want to go into week 18 against the Steelers, having to beat the Steelers to win the division, an AFC North opponent and your hated rival. So as good as Miami is better than Pittsburgh, they're better than Pittsburgh.
Right.
I suspect the Ravens are coming in and they're going to play with a certain amount of toughness to try to end this thing and get to the week 18 so they can have rest their starters. I just think Baltimore is the more physical team. Lamar Jackson is the X factor. I'm going with the coach and the quarterback in Baltimore over the coach and quarterback in Miami.
I get what you're saying, and also Baltimore trying to wrap up home field advantage through the AFC.
Yeah.
This is a good game for them to get the victory.
They can't go out, even though Miami's a good team. They can't go out and lay an egg.
Absolutely.
You're at home. You need to take care of business. I think they will.
Obi, what's your take up on Baltimore and the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I was on the Miami Dolphins until I found out that I believe Jalen Waddle was not playing today. So
But that will change that will change my pick.
So that's one of their speed factors, and one of their kind of like possession guys. I just feel like I hear what Bryce said, and I just feel like that. I think the people in Baltimore know that this is the game they gotta have.
Yeah.
This is the game that they got to win. Now, so I changed my pick earlier this morning to the Ravens from Miami.
Out. Yep.
And so, but I want you guys to watch for something that I feel like if the Ravens get down early and the speed of Miami is like they're like the wow factor,
It's good.
Yeah.
Baltimore could be in for a long
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
because then Baltimore is going to have to feel like that they have to throw,
That's true.
and that's where Lamar starts making mistakes. When he starts to feel like that he's got to make a play, he starts to carry the ball around, and he's got smaller hands, and I just feel like that.
More so than instinctively, Obi, is what you're saying?
Yes, instinct. I think when Lamar goes out there and he has no cares in the world, this is the game plan, this is what we're doing, and things are going well. Lamar Jackson right now probably is the MVP.
Absolutely.
The dude
I've
can
already
just
named it.
flat out play. And you cannot, and we go back to the speed factor, you can't really defend him. He throws, he's got a cannon for an arm. His accuracy is a little iffy, but he's got a cannon for an arm. He's able to get out. He's big enough, just big enough to get out of trouble in the pocket. And then when he gets out, the defense is at his mercy. Because is he going to throw, which he can throw well on the run, or is he going to run? It's like, it's damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I feel that's where Lamar is when he's really dangerous, is when they have the lead and they have the game in hand, and he just could go out there and play almost like he's. I know that they're not playing this way, but almost like he's playing playground football. It's like, you guys are at my mercy. I'm going to do what I want.
So I think what I'm hearing from Obi, that if he goes out and plays street ball and everything is fine, but what has to happen is that the Baltimore Ravens cannot be under one word.
Got me under pressure.
Can't be under pressure today. You got to be able to play flow. I mean, if you get down 2 touchdowns,
Queens.
Lamar Jackson starts thinking a little bit too much. Maybe I don't know.
Lamar starts doing that things.
Yeah, but here's one thing. Here's the only thing. So the reason why
Talk about chair
Baltimore.
shots.
Yeah,
Golly.
I did switch it. I did switch it to Baltimore, and the reason being is, yes, I agree with you. It's hard to defend speed, but if it's the only thing they got going on right now, I'm afraid of that. If they have Waddle in the lineup, that's a 1-2 punch. I think that could get the job done because they're going to have to probably go singular. If you double up Tyreek, you're going to leave Waddle open. He's just going to have a big heyday of a game, but he's not even in the lineup, so it takes away from the effectiveness of doubling down on Tyreek, even though you can't really double down on him because he's still going to get friggin' open. So it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't when you're talking about Tyreek Hill and what can and cannot be done against them. But by the way, I know this sounds stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think you also, everybody was talking about, who was it? Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. Who was the other ones that they were talking about for MVP?
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Purdy. How did Tua get put off of that list? I mean, seriously. I mean, if we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys not playing anybody, how is Tua not on that? Listen, now, people think I hate Tua. No, I hate how he got in because it wasn't right. And I've been on that ever since. He should have never been able to take over for Fitzpatrick. They were winning football games with Fitzpatrick, and they threw him in. That having been said, no, it's true. They were still in a playoff run. You don't replace them with a rookie that hadn't been out on the football field. You just don't do it. It was a stupid move, and I was proven right, by the way, because they didn't make the playoffs with their new sensation. Now, the new sensation got a lot of experience, and I'll give them that, but which puts them here today. I mean, I think Tua should be in the talks of MVP. Now, not a Tua fan per se, but I watched the damn games, and I know he hasn't played against the big ones, but I'm telling you right now, Lamar Jackson or Tua, if I had to start a franchise right now, man, I'd be hard pressed not to take Tua. And I'm just saying this because I think he's more of the more of the traditional quarterback because I prefer that more so than Jackson. But I'm going to tell you one thing that Jackson has been able to do to have to shut me up is his passing abilities. If you look at what he does, especially downfield, I got news for you, man. Lamar Jackson is going to be hard to defend defensively, regardless who it is in reality. And not having Andrews in the lineup really kind of hurts. But man, Odell Beckham Jr. might have a big game today. Who knows? So this should be an interesting game. I think most of the games are halfway easy this week. However, as far as that is concerned, the game that I do think is probably a hard one to pick and try to figure out whether or not a team is going to win, it would have to be, Cuervo's team today. Cuervo's team is going up against the Atlanta Falcons, and we all
Bears are who we thought they were.
So that being said, they're home against the Atlanta Falcons. You want to talk about a coin flip here today, guys? I mean, both these teams suck. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to sugarcoat it. All right, both these teams suck. Bears at home, that doesn't mean anything in reality. But I mean, the Atlanta Falcons, they're battling for a playoff spot. Believe it or not, they're still in the running. They can still ink their way in. Big time win against the Bears today could help that. That being said, I'll shoot it to Obi, who I don't know. I think he's a closet Bear fan sometimes. I really honestly do. He picks them. Yeah,
I'm gonna come out and I've said this to two different people this week.
Yes.
And now you guys are going to be 3, 4, and 5. They're going to know this and know this about me. Sonny, how many years have you not known me?
35.
So
30,
I've never told
years.
you this, but I'm going to be honest with you. When I was a kid, yes, I love my Browns, and that's all we could see and everything. But there was this team, and I'm not saying this just because they're doing well right now, but I was a secret Dan Marino fan. I am a secret closet Miami Dolphin fan.
Wow.
Here's the reason. I liked Dan Marino when he was playing for him. I liked the colors. And one of my favorite mammals, what do you want to call it, is a dolphin. So there you go. I'm a secret Dolphins fan. You guys know it. It's out there now. There you go.
I'm gonna take you back to the Cheers days when they were picking football games on the show, and Diane was winning the pick'ems. They said, "Well, it's the Dolphins and the Bears," and she goes, "Bears," and they said, "Well, why are you picking the Bears?" She goes, "Come on, a bear against a dolphin." I mean, so is that your thinking here? Is that because of the color, or is that what it is?
No, I don't know. It's just so I'm a secret closet Dolphins fan. You guys know it. As for the Bears and the Falcons, you think about this game. Yes, the Falcons are somehow still in a playoff hunt.
One game behind.
They're just, I don't know. It's just, they play too inconsistent. The Bears aren't really good. But here's the thing that makes me think about this game is you look at it, and on paper, the Bears should win this game.
That's why you don't pick them.
But you don't play the game on paper. And
the Bears are who we thought they were.
Yeah. All things point is the Bears should win this game. So I'm going to pick the Falcons.
That's right. Oh my God, Obi, it's like we're on and by the way, we didn't get together before that. That's exactly the reason why I'm taking them. Because the Bears should win this game because of the paperwork, that is there. And they always crap the bed. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just what the Bears have been doing. Now, granted, they've, say whatever you want about the Bears. They've managed to win a game here, there. They won last week. Hey, congratulations, but you still suck. Your quarterback still sucks. Because, by the way, just to let you know that Fields does suck. And the reason why he does suck, because the Bears don't want him. If he was worth a damn nickel, they'd keep him. All right, so that tells you how the Bears feel about it.
I love how you say that like it's a reflection on Fields and not a reflection of that poor organization and how they ran.
I'm just saying that. Come on, if he was a good football player, wouldn't they keep him?
Typical,
kind of said it,
media guy.
He just kind of said it though. He said that the Bears don't want him.
Yeah, the Bears don't want
What
him.
does that say?
The Bears don't want him.
No.
Hey, if he was winning football games and he was any good, do you think they want to get rid of him?
No. I'm going to stop you right there because that is not what he said. He said, yes, they don't want him because he's not worth a nickel. See,
That's right.
That's the shot. That's the shot.
The game for him, winning. By the way, how many games what's his record as a starter? By the way, what is his record? Yeah, it just proves something.
You and OB picked the wrong thing, thinking the same thing, and you're both wrong. The Bears should not win this game on paper because the Falcons, no matter what you think about them, I don't think they're a great team. Not only do they have a better record, they're fighting to win their division.
Yes,
I'm going with the Falcons today to get the win.
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
No, the Bears are gonna shit on themselves. It's just gonna happen. Podfather, you've been quiet. I think he's asleep. He's one of these weird guys who sleeps with his eyes open.
No,
so
he's zoned out because he's tired of hearing you and Obi's drivel on this topic.
So, Podfather, who do you have in this one?
Let me get this straight. You referenced a Cheers episode from the Diane years?
Yes, from the Diane years. Yes.
Not
the better years, by the way. Not the better years. Christy Alley fully took over for me, but I do like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, just so that you know, when you do that, you don't get clips. Anyway, by the way, that was in the Christy Alley days.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Nope. Cheers, my favorite show. I know which ones, which years are what. Look, I picked Chicago. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I picked them because I just don't trust Atlanta.
What?
And Sonny, shut up. So you talk too much. Shut up.
What?
Yeah, exactly. No, I look. All three of y'all are Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's a reason why I'm number one in the pick 'em, okay? Because
here we go.
Because it's a safe pick, all right. All right, now
that matters. I should have been. I was on top of this league for the first 12 weeks. Okay, so there you go.
Listen, whatever, don't matter. Look, look. My long close personal friend Cuervo, who's on the show, you roll the show every time you do that shit. You realize that, right? Anyway, look. He's in Las Vegas, probably sobering up from last night. And he's probably got a smile on his face saying it's New Year's and so happy. He's Chicago gonna win. I know who he's picking, and he's the guy I'm competing against right now. So I'm gonna go Chicago with him.
Not because they're the better team. You just want to keep up with Cuervo. Man, I hate people who make picks like that. Drives me insane. I didn't do it to you, and look at what you're doing. You're just trying to stay on top of Cuervo.
I have my own theory.
Hey, you're on top for a reason, even though it's kind of weaselly the way you're doing it. But hey, that's okay.
I do weasel things, okay? I'm sorry.
Hey, so you got me for probably about another half hour.
Well, then what do you? And how long do I have Bryce from Brooklyn?
Yeah, I've got about the same. So when Obi checks out, I've got to check out.
Okay.
Well, then let's do this. We'll start with Obi since we'll go to a game that you want to talk about on the rest of the schedule today. Obviously, outside of Baltimore and outside the Bears, what's the next game that you want to talk about as far as the games are concerned? Then, Bryce, I'll let you pick the one after that. So what game do you want to look at there, Obi?
Okay, so what games have you guys talked about?
We've only talked about Baltimore and Baltimore
okay.
and Chicago because
So
we BS'd for the first hour for fun.
So what I want to
Waiting
talk
on the
about, the
superstars.
next game is, I'm not. I mean, yeah, it has a little bit of playoff implications, I guess, but I'm more intrigued about the storyline this week, and that is the Chargers Broncos game.
Wow, really?
Talk about this.
The Broncos and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I'm going to just tell you right now, Sean Payton, when he took this job, he already knew that he did not want Russell Wilson as his quarterback. So Russell
Do
Wilson.
you really think that?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
I think Russell Wilson has gotten railroaded, and the Peyton has talked that management in saying, "Listen, I mean, it's out there that they went to Russell and said, you either restructure your contract or we're going to bench you." So when Russell said, "No, not going to restructure," so what are they going to do? They're benching him. He's gotten railroaded. Russell Wilson is playing a hell of a lot better than he did last year. And Russell Wilson is, over the last several games, and even more games this year, has become almost like the old Russell Wilson, where if the Broncos are in the freaking game in the fourth quarter, you don't want him to have that ball because he's going to kill you. I just feel like that Russell Wilson has been railroaded, and for that fact, I picked the Chargers to win today. Just because
It's
I'm
the
so
Walmart
angry about
effect.
that.
It's the Walmart effect. I agree with you 100%. It's the Walmart effect. Okay. The reason why they're going to bench him and quote unquote restructure is if he gets hurt here in the final 2 years, he gets an extra 42 million on top of the 37.5 million.
Hey, guess what?
So it's the cheap way. It is the Walmart way. And believe me, and folks that don't know, the Broncos are owned by the Walmart Corporation now. Okay, so this is no great big surprise in reality that they say you either do this or we're going to do that. It's on the cheap and or protecting throwing money away, because guess what? Then they can't cut them and owe that contract the way it is without adding an extra 42 million if he gets hurt in week. But here's an interesting question in this game, and I'll ask Bryce. What happens if they go ahead and put in Stenham? Who's going to back up quarterback if he gets hurt?
I think Russell Wilson actually is the backup quarterback today.
That's interesting to me too, because if they want to make a statement, they put in whoever the number 3 is and say, "Hey, Russ, that," and that wouldn't shock me that would happen. But here's the only problem. Now, granted, I don't think they would go far or anything, but guess what? You play for playoff spots, okay? And that's what you do. The Broncos are 7-8. Yes, they're not there. They're losers of their last 2 games in a row, which, by the way, they should at least won one of them. But take away from that, depending on what the Chiefs do, they haven't been playing great. They still have an opportunity. They're not mathematically eliminated from winning this division. And that's where I think, up on top of the fact that they're blackballing, Russell Wilson, this is a statement made by a coach that has too much power, Bryce. And that's where I want to focus in on. When you got a guy that's over, I don't think that this was more of a Broncos decision more so than Sean Payton protecting his own paycheck in reality.
First of all, I agree with everything that Obi said, and I'm going to take it further. Ryan Clark on Get Up and First Take the other day had an excellent take on this, and I also agree with him. And I think it is very intentional to use these words. Sean Payton has acted like a thug.
I agree.
He absolutely has. The way he has treated Russell Wilson. This just when you were even repeating it about the contract, that's some gangster stuff right there. Like, you either restructure your contract or we're going to affect your work, and you got consequences. Like, that's kind of gangster to do something like that. When have we? I don't know if I've ever seen that in the NFL. Like, for them to just so boldly and blatantly feel that they can do that.
Yeah,
it's thuggish behavior, and it's apropos to Sean Payton, who was suspended already for Bountygate. He has the propensity to act like this. I wish someone in the media would ask him or Bill Belichick, because they're always going on about the Parcells way.
Yes.
I wish someone would go ask them, did Parcells teach y'all to Spygate and deflate footballs? Did Parcells teach you to treat your players like this? Did Parcells treat you to treat your franchise quarterback the way you treated him? Did you learn that from Parcells? Is that the way he taught y'all as coaches? Since you're always going on about his philosophy and all that. Is that how he taught you to act?
I see it.
I wish someone would ask them that.
Hey, I see 100%. I mean, look at the 1990 season. Phil Simms walked in as your quarterback, got hurt. Jeff Hostetler took over, took him to the Super Bowl. Never gave Phil Simms a chance to win his job back.
Yep.
So,
it's cutthroat. It's old school cutthroat kind of things that have been going on there.
I can even. Go ahead, my father.
It's Bobby Knight football. That's what it is. And think about it. Bobby Knight and Bill Parcells come from the same freaking cloth.
Same freaking
cloth.
They do.
So yeah, very much. And once again, that all filtered down to Sean Payton. It filtered down to Bill Belichick. It worked well for Belichick when he had a winning quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
Not so much now.
But see, I'm going to go here with this too, because you cannot like the Jeff Hostetler thing, but at least he won. Hey man, it's a cutthroat business. We're going to go with Hostetler. Okay, we're going to do that. I get that.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. All right.
10-4.
Sure. If Sean Payton had come out and said, look, he has every right as the coach to say, we've made a decision. We actually don't believe Russell Wilson will help us win these last 2 football games. But we're going to go with Jarrett Stidham because it's a football decision. He's got that right. Okay. If he were to come out and say, we're 7-8. We've discussed this with Russell. We've discussed it with ownership. We've all decided we're going to move on from Russ. And we're going to go with Jarrett Stidham, and it's a financial thing. We're going to do everything we can for Russ's next situation. We appreciate everything he's done here. Fine. They have the right to do that. That is not what's going on. You come out and talk about it's a football decision. But we know behind the scenes, you said if you don't cut your contract, we're going to bench you.
Right.
So again, this gangster, this thuggish type behavior, trying to bully Russ into a position. I have never seen a franchise quarterback treated in this manner. He talked about, to Obi's point, Sonny. Obi said he never wanted him. He came out hot talking about kissing babies, and you don't want to do that. I love what Ryan said. No one has kissed more babies than Drew Brees. No one has tried to play the role of community guy and image guy in New Orleans than Drew Brees did. We never heard this about Drew Brees. Stop kissing so many babies. But you come in and you got a problem with Russell Wilson. So that's about something else. That ain't about Russ and his and the way he's comporting himself to try to be a community guy or to try.
Well, what do you think it is, Bryce? I mean, you're kind of sugarcoating something. What do you think it is? I guess that's what I'm.
You know what? We honestly, we don't know.
Right.
Here's what I can say. Everything I've said is a fact.
Right.
Or someone needs to ask Sean Payton and make him be accountable to you. This is how Drew Brees was treated. Here's Russell Wilson. You told him to stop kissing babies, stop acting like he was running for office. So what is the difference in your style here? Make him answer that. Make them answer for how they've treated Russell Wilson. Make them answer for telling him he's going to get benched for the contract. Put the pressure on him to, this is what you've done. Explain your actions. I 100% agree with Obi. Russell Wilson has gotten disrespected, and there's been a lack of professionalism over here.
Okay. I have one question. Was Sean Payton considered a Hall of Fame coach before he went to Denver?
I think some would.
Why?
What you're saying could just sweep them right out the door on it, because there's more to the story that we're not hearing. In other words, Bryce, there's more to the story that we're not hearing, and we don't know the quote unquote excuse or the real reason we're getting all of this. We're just hearing what the facts are, but what is the motivation behind the fact? and that is what I'm interested in. Now,
Yes.
I don't know if it is the style of play that Russell Wilson plays compared to Drew Brees. Listen, they're night and day. They're different types of quarterbacks. Let's just be honest. But that's a cover for what it could be, and that's where I am. Because I'm not saying I've ever heard anything about Sean Payton having people, call him a racist or, go against certain people. But when you have the cover of, well, he's not a Drew Brees kind of guy, maybe filling in for that excuse, you get away with it. And that's what I without coming out and saying that Sean Payton is making these decisions racially motivated, when you have such the backup because of the different type of play Drew Brees and Russell Wilson do, it just gives you free form to do what he just did and have the excuse with it to blindly cover it. I'm not saying he is a racist. So let's just put that out there, because we won't know that, because he'll only tell his best friends that he's a racist. So that being said, we'll never get that answer. So he hangs right, but here's one of the things: you hang around with people you get along with. So I'm just kind of wondering what that motivation may be.
Well, Sonny, let's go back to that. Podfather brings up Hostetler. You may not like Parcells for not giving Phil Simms another chance because he went with the guy that won him a Super Bowl or thought Phil was done. That's the cutthroat business of the NFL, and you can debate whether it should have went down like that, but that's on the field of play. Even an injury is on the field of play. When you come in, Sonny, and your first thing is stop kissing babies, you ain't running for office, when the guy who was your starter for years kissed more babies than anybody, I mean, look, and was Mr. like face of the franchise. What's the problem now? Like, what's the problem? So regardless of how they play, that's not football related, Sonny.
No.
Sure. Russ likes to extend the play because he's more athletic. That ain't football related. If you came out and said, you know what, we've made a decision, we've spoken with Russ, we're going to go with Stidham these last 2 games, we feel stylistically or whatever, for us to win games, this is what we feel we have to do. You know what? You may not. He has his right to do that. Now, we can disagree on the field, like Hostetler and Simms, whether that's the right thing to do. Okay, but all this other stuff speaks to what Obi's talking about, Sonny. This guy got railroaded. You didn't want this guy, and you've been unprofessional from the beginning, and your unprofessionalism turned to thuggery almost.
And think about this, Bryce. You're talking about a former Super Bowl winning quarterback and one that participated in another. Like all of a sudden, and I said this before, it's Russell Wilson hasn't forgotten how to play the quarterback position. Now, has his abilities maybe decreased a little bit? Yes, but really, come on, this guy's what, 32 years old? Yeah. This guy might be in his friggin' prime.
And been to more Super Bowls than Sean Payton.
Exactly.
As a head coach, like
on top of it,
Obi is 100% right. This is wrong. This is
something there, and maybe the fact that he fits in with the wall. He fits in with the Walmart, thinking a way of life. Yeah, hey, but you can also go to San Francisco and see what happened, when Colin Kaepernick took over, when what's his nose went down. I forget his name slipping my mind. Yeah, when Alex Smith went down, and that type of thuggery, at that time, well, when he's ready to come back, no, Colin's keeping his job. Well, that was a business decision based upon who was winning football games at the time.
Right.
Here, that's not even the case here.
That's not even the case here.
There's more to it. There's more than we're getting. Like I said, your best buddies are the ones that'll narc on you if it's going to happen. So that's one of those things. I'm telling you, I think there's a Bryce. I'm normally not one to throw the race card. I really am. But when we can't hear it, then that's the problem in reality. We're never going to hear from them as far as, unless someone, will come out and spill the beans on it. So
you can't hear it, but yet the picture that you are seeing is exactly what you're seeing.
Exactly.
There you go.
And here's the funny thing. I'm not one to throw the race card because I think it's a cop-out excuse. But guess what? The secrecy behind this whole thing, and I'm just going to throw this out here. Think about who the Walmart Corporation is in reality. Just think about it. I'm not going to go in deep on it. Just think about how old the man was, Mr. Sam Walton, and how old he was. Compare it to ownership in the NFL when people say, what's the race thing going on? Well, you've got 90-year-old men running football teams that have this racist tendencies. I'm telling you right now, there's something behind it. And again, if Sean Payton is completely innocent, so be it. I'll go ahead and suck that up. But man, sometimes when you can just smell it a little bit, then the odor will come out a little bit later on, and it'll expose itself, I think, sooner or later. So
listen, something smells, and
yep.
Look, I don't know. Look, we don't know. I know people like to say we don't know what's in Sean Payton's heart, but
right.
as I was told as a youth, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. So
I agree.
So I'm just saying this, like Obi said it. Something smells. This whole
something's
thing,
amok.
like, you got all these things that are like, what is going on here? I don't know whatever's running that decision. It ain't good because this is completely unprofessional.
Yeah. Now that said, before I lose both of you, Bryce, what's your not one, not two, by the way, but the 3 keys of the. I don't know if I can think of 3 keys. I mean, in reality, oh my gosh, this is an interesting game. Seattle, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What is your take up on it? What are you looking at as far as this game? And then we'll come back and get the picks from the one we were just talking about. I just wanted to get this in before you had to leave.
Listen, this is going to be an interesting game. Funny enough, good segue. I understand football decisions because Mike Tomlin has made one. Going with Mason Rudolph, bringing Kenny Pickett up to speed. We know, I believe Kenny will be back as the starter next year, but they're trying to win now. So I get those decisions like Podfather brought up Hostetler. They happen. The stuff in San Diego with the Broncos, the stuff with the Broncos is a little different. The Seahawks game.
Yes.
This is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to come out and say I do not see Rudolph replicating the silly play calling and just the weird decisions that the Bengals made to continually go man coverage, single high, give him those easy reads to make throws. When you zone blitz Pittsburgh, when you run multiple coverages, their offense just doesn't have a lot of answers. Even last week when you go through it, it's a lot of mirror routes, out routes, spacing with curls. They don't do a lot. It's vanilla. The Seattle Seahawks are going to – Pete Carroll's a good coach, a defensive guy. He's going to throw a lot of sim pressure. He's going to throw a lot of different looks. Their offense is going to throw a lot of different looks. I think we'll have a chance to be better defensively, but offensively with that crowd, I actually don't see us having a lot of answers. I think we'll stay in the fight, but ultimately I'm going with this. My heart wants to pick Pittsburgh, but my head is going to go ahead and go with the Seahawks.
I wish that I trusted Geno Smith. I think I'm just gonna say it. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. It's better than to be lucky than good. And I'm sorry, Seattle's been lucky.
So wait. All of what Geno has done to turn his career around is all luck to you.
No. Congratulations. Congratulations, because he is better than what the Geno Smith that we know. And he will ultimately come back to maybe next year. All right. So because guess what? You end up being the same guy that you always have been. Okay. You only change for a little bit. Just ask most men when they get divorced and, they change for a little bit and they say, screw it, I'm out of here. So that's just usually the way it ends up happening. I'm just saying Geno Smith is Geno Smith. I'm not, listen, would it surprise me if they won? No, but I'm going to stick with your Steelers. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. But if they ever get the opportunity to get their running game going, it should be right here. All right. I'm telling you right now, Najee Harris, I think, needs to have that big game. And and more than the fact for the Steelers saying, should we keep Najee? Now, I'm not saying Najee's bad. Unlike Fields, I think Fields is no good. I think Najee Harris is a badass. But then the question is how long are they going to keep him when it's not being successful in reality in this system? Obviously, running backs are a dime a dozen. Obviously, he's going to get a contract offer here sooner or later. How much are you going to pay Najee when it's time? So there are a lot of things that are going on here. And if they're serious thought about keeping Najee Harris as your guy, your primary dude, okay, this is a game I think they can establish that in reality. And I'm not just talking about running the football. I'm talking about getting your superstar involved in the damn game. And I don't know why the Steelers are so immune to that thinking when you got a superstar. And listen, I thought it coming out of college this guy was going to be a superstar. And what have the Steelers done to make that happen? Nada. Nothing. Anything to bring him to where he could be. Okay. And this could be the game they do it. Now, I don't know. What's the playoff scenarios here in reality for Pittsburgh? In reality, I know they're 8-7. Are they?
They're not in the playoffs as of now, but if they were to win out, the Colts lose, the Texans lose. It'd be great if Jacksonville loses, even though they have to lose one of these next two games. They can get in. There's a clear path for them to get in.
Got it. So let's find out. Is he going to be the superstar? It's not going to be Mason Rudolph. We all know that, right? All right. So feed the guy that can win the damn game for you. In other words, what Obi says, run the damn ball, for God's sake. You don't have anything to lose in reality because you're not going to get much further in reality. By the way, what are you calling the Seahawks? What's their nickname? I forget.
Sea chickens.
The sea chickens.
You know what? We're gonna go with the sea chickens. We're gonna give. This is how I pay my respect to Obi. It's hard for me to say this. And his Browns. I'm gonna call them today the sea chickens.
Sea chickens. But all right. So.
Sonny.
That having been said, and everything said with this one,
Sonny.
I'm not done. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I'm going to go to the Steelers with that. And now I'm going to go to the Podfather on my time. So, Podfather, what do you think about this game as the Steelers are taking on the Seahawks? The silence. I love it. I will zip over him in 2 seconds and go on to the next game.
Look, no. Here's the thing. You ask why the Steelers don't play Najee Harris the way they should be, right? Because they are playing from underneath all year long. Okay? When you were down early in the game, you were not looking for – this is not just the Steelers. This is every NFL team out there. They're trying to get the ball down the field as quickly as they can so you get the ball back again and do it again. Doing the running back thing does not work at that point. When you're down 10-0, 17-0 in the first quarter, you are not looking to establish your running game. That's why the Steelers have not been able to manufacture the running game they've had this year because they've been so far down behind. Their defense needs to be up to par to keep teams from jumping up ahead of them 17-0 in the first quarter, so they can then go and establish a running game. Because if you're down 17-0 and you start running the football, your critics up in that area are going to sit and go, throw the damn ball. That's what they're going to say. Now, you, Sonny, may not say that. And you know what? You're right, Sonny. They should establish a running game, but they don't have the time to do it because in the times that they're trying to move the ball down, let me shut up.
Right.
So, I mean, when That's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to butt into my time. My time,
Not yet.
motherfucker.
Not yet. I'm not going to do that.
Okay. You know what? Drop the green screen because you're in delay. So anyway, anyway, look. All I'm saying is this. You're right about they need to establish a running game. You're absolutely right about that. Their defense needs to stop giving up plays to the other team. See, now you're on delay. Now it's awesome.
There you go. So don't say I didn't do anything for you. So
oh, thank you. See? Anyway. You know what? I like you back. I like you better in delay. Anyway, I know.
Yeah, I know. Shut up.
Also, I like you better when you phase out of the picture too. That's kind of cool. Anyway, look. I think this in the offseason, they need to go and draft heavy on defense because they got the players on offense. They do. They don't have the momentum to carry that because their defense lets it up all the damn time. That's why they have to give up on the running game. So again, you cannot utilize all the key players you want to at their key positions when you're down so many damn times. And they've been playing from underneath. Now, sometimes they're able to get themselves back up and they're able to win these games. Good for them. And I don't blame Kenny Pickett for any of that. He's in a bad system right now because let's face it, who was offensive coordinator? Who's it now?
Faulkner and Sullivan, yeah, but they fired their OC, which means they don't think Kenny's the problem.
Right. So you know what? Let's get to the offseason. Let's figure out what they do for agency wise. Let's see what they do draft wise. Let's see them pack the defense up. Do kind of what the Cowboys did on defense with the secondary. Put some guys around them to stop the stop teams from just throwing the ball on them a whole lot. Okay. Remember, they start off the year this year against the 49ers, and the Niners lit them up in the first 3 minutes.
They did,
and that set their season back. So
I get what you're saying, and you're making some valid points.
Whoa! Time out! What would you? Please say that again. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want me to say it again? You made some good points.
Yeah, no,
but I'm gonna throw the biggest point out. Yes, we know about the running game and being behind, but in the last 5 games, okay, just the last 5, Najee Harris has caught the ball 5 times. That is a miscarriage of justice of that talent. I am telling you, that's almost a fireable offense on the people who are calling those damn plays and not getting them involved with the offense. He is your most explosive player on offense right now in reality. Well, and you get him the ball 5 times in the passing game in the last 5 games. It's inexcusable. So it's along the lines of not creating opportunities for a superstar like Najee Harris. I'm telling you right now, Najee Harris would be Najee Harris would be one of the best running backs in the NFL on a different football team. I'm just saying. I'm saying that's how good that guy was coming out of college, and they just blew him. And not only that, he's not going to make any money because he's not going to get the opportunity.
Okay? Put down the cocaine, bro. Because here's the thing. Nobody establishes their passing game off a running back.
Oh, listen, hold on. Listen, that's got to be the dumbest thing I think I almost heard from you. Okay, because when you talk about great running backs, you talk about their ability to catch the damn ball out of the backfield. Are you kidding me? Let's just put a couple of names out there. Barry Sanders, okay, a monster out of the backfield. How about LaDainian Tomlinson? You get your guys involved with the game where they can be productive when they are superstars. And the fact that the Steelers didn't recognize him as that superstar is a failure up on the coaching staff. And yes, I'll even throw it to the head coach going, why aren't we getting the ball to Najee? Are you crazy? Figure something out. And that's what they should have done. Okay. And they didn't do it. And Bryce Ryan, I know that guy right there. He agrees with me.
Wow, that's a rant right there. You got the full fury.
because Barry Sanders didn't have Herman Moore.
I had to end the year on something good. There you go. Am I wrong, Bryce? Am I wrong? You want to talk about not utilizing the talent? They haven't done it for the last 4 years with this guy.
Well, Podfather, you were going to say something. Go ahead, and then I'll chime in.
So Barry Sanders did not have Herman Moore as a receiver, huh?
Oh,
I-
listen.
I'm saying,
That has nothing to do with nothing. It's about utilizing the ability of the player. Forget,
and they ran
Darman
Barry
Moore.
and they ran Barry Sanders to death.
Listen, LaDainian
against a
Tomlinson
no
had
offensive line.
Winslow, for God's sake. I mean, come on. I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
Utilize the players and run them. Listen, they have failed completely. I'm sorry, and Bryce.
I like how Sonny once won certain
Bryce
parts
agrees
of
with
the
me, I
game,
think.
but not all the game, so it's okay. It's all good.
Listen to Sonny's point, Podfather. I'm gonna lean. Yes, you need weapons. I'm gonna lean. Actually, can't believe I'm saying this. A little more towards what Sonny is saying, only because it's about. But you are right, Podfather. The system is broken. The system is why they can't figure out how to get Najee Harris to football in the pass game. The system is why they have no answers with diverse route combinations and all that. The system is why they can't run good screens for the last 5 years. So Najee Harris should be touching the football more in the passing game. He was in the beginning of his career, and it was effective. You know, his first year, he was running the ball and he was getting touches in the pass game. Now, we just got a message from Cuervo. Warren is the future in Pittsburgh. He might be that, but only contractually, because I don't know if they're going to give Najee Harris a big contract for a second.
No, they're not, and that's their fault. And Najee is the one that's not going to get the financial, windfall in reality because of the way that they were playing or putting together the offense and not getting involved. Because if that guy was getting the yards, if that guy was getting the ball out of the backfield, we would be talking about, God, we got to give him some money in order to keep him. Now they can give a rat's fat ass of whether or not they'll keep him on the team. Never mind pay him.
I think they want to keep him. Let's get the new OC and a better OC, which leads me to where Pittsburgh actually needs to go, which, again, the fact that we've gotten to this point makes me want to punch myself in the face. If you look at Kevin Stefanski, offensive guy, when he went out and got Jim Schwartz, it's injected something different into that team. A guy who matches the system, a very, very good defensive mind, not a head coach, but a very good defensive mind. Mike Tomlin is the opposite. He wants to run the defense with Terrell Austin, and the defense comes up with playing good. He needs to go find his Schwartz on the offensive side of the football. And
they should never let that young man go to Minnesota.
That can utilize the players, move Broderick Jones back to left tackle, get Dan Moore out of there, get Mason Cole out of center, continue to build the line, use the young, talented pieces they have, and build a real offensive system. And Pittsburgh can be effective, and then we'll find out who, can Kenny Pickett thrive in that system. Because right now, if I had to go off of what I've seen, Kenny is not your franchise quarterback right now, just based on it. But I think with an asterisk, he's been hindered because the system has been so porous.
Yep. Gotcha. Very good.
So,
by the way, so before you go, Steelers or the Seahawks? Who you got?
Watch out for today in this game. If the Seahawks are anywhere smart on coach-wise, is that they would, in the beginning of the game, when the Steelers have the ball, they're going to commit 7 to 8 guys in the box, stop Najee Harris, and make Mason Rudolph beat you, which he can't. So I had picked the Seahawks to win today. Sorry, Bryce, but that's just the way I see it.
I am too. I've got to go Seahawks. Podfather, who do you have in this one?
Seahawks.
Man with great words, to put it together.
See you guys. Happy New Year. See you guys later. Okay.
You betcha. I'm glad you were able to join us for a little bit. Thanks for joining us. We're going to lose you too, Bryce. So you have a great new year. We'll see you in 2024. I'm glad I was able to get a strap in for your Pittsburgh Steelers. So there you go. Take care, my friend. Podfather, good to see you. You're back here. You out of here? Yeah. We're gonna go rapid fire in reality.
Okay.
As It's just the way we do it. I know this is what you want. I get it.
I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I'm a peaceful man, sir. What are you talking about?
You're peaceful. Yeah, I got
exactly.
it. Understand. All right. Very good. All right. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. We're going to go rapid fire up on the rest of the games that are here as we got a half hour. And the reason why I got off on the barrage, there's not too many really interesting games.
You just wanted to soundbite yourself. That's all you wanted to do. Go ahead.
Well, I could do that too, but so much so I'm going to be so lazy I ain't going to go get it. But that being said, so
I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. Don't worry about it.
All right. So who are you going to go in the Atlanta Chicago game? I don't remember if you said.
I was going Chicago.
Okay, I'm going Atlanta. That's right. That you were going against the grain of everybody on that one. That could go either way. Now, Las Vegas and Indianapolis. 7-8 Las Vegas, 8-7 Indianapolis. Indianapolis trying to, maybe get the opportunity to, win the AFC South that the Jacksonville Jaguars should win, but they're such louses they can't get the job done. They got the opportunity here as far as Indianapolis is concerned. What's your take up on this one?
Give me the Raiders. The Raiders are playing better ball right now than they have at the beginning of the year, and I still don't trust the Colts right now. I know the Colts are hanging in there, but they're just hanging in there.
Yeah, and hanging on. It's 8-7. 3 of the 4 teams are 8-7 in this division. So that's the only reason why I'm going to go Colts, because Jacksonville's probably going to win. They got the Panthers. By the way, are you thinking any different on that? Jacksonville going to beat the Panthers today?
Even though Jacksonville's playing at home, I know you have your reservations about that.
I'm picking the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm picking the Jaguars too.
So it makes this game really interesting as far as that is concerned, knowing where the Jaguars might quite possibly be at the end of the day. This is an important game for the Colts, and I think the Colts are actually going to come out and get the opportunity and get the victory. So I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to go Indianapolis on this one. So yeah, who knows? I mean, what team will show up?
I mean, honestly, in our pick'em thing, it's 50-50. So
yeah, exactly.
You're 49 and 40.
Suck. They both suck. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel the Raiders are playing better ball right now.
Yep. And Rams and the Giants. The Rams at 8-7, Giants 5-10. Just a team that is just not there. It seems, in reality. Do they show today?
Okay, I'll tell you what. At the count of 3, let's say who we're going to pick. All right.
So wait. On the count of 3. All right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Rams. Yeah.
So yeah. So on the Rams, pretty much ease. I think pretty much ease. Obviously, again, now the Rams are another team where you can watch in the playoffs. They're getting hot at the right time right now. So that's a good sign for them as far as where their future is.
Not hot enough for me though.
Not for you.
Not for me, but then then I've not been.
So I'm just asking and not criticizing. What more do they got to do in order for you to think that they're getting really hot and they could be someone that you got to worry about?
Foot on the throat, squeeze the life out of teams they're playing. Like today, how they need to do with the Giants. I mean, if they win 20-17, that's not squeezing the life out of your opponent.
Got it. Like the Cowboys beat the holy hell out of them by 40, right?
Right, you're right. But then the Cowboys were neck and neck with a team that was even with them last night. So I understood last night's game, to whereas I would never understand how a team that is supposedly a front runner, kind of in a way, to be kind of playing down to their potential against a team that can't play up to anybody else's potential.
Well, I don't necessarily think that the Rams are a front runner. I think they're a dark horse within the NFC because it, like they say, if you get hot at the right time, I mean, all you got to do is just take a look at the Giants in the past, getting hot at the right time and then going on and rolling into the playoffs to do what they do. I think that's it. That could be kind of the scenario depending upon how, but I would like to see the Rams win by at least 10, if not, 14.2 touchdowns in this one. And you're right. I think that's something to kind of look at. If you can't beat the Giants by 14 today, what are your chances in the playoffs if you make the playoffs? So that's something to kind of.
No. They are playing in New York, but I don't think New York has that much of an advantage. I'm not sure if the game's even sold out, really. So,
yeah, there you go. Now, Philadelphia and Arizona, I don't think there's a lot really to talk about this one. I mean,
okay,
but
ready?
you really want to see the Arizona Cardinals win, but I don't know how they win this game.
Okay. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't see how they win this game. As far as that is concerned. So let me just check one other place. Okay, I got that. All right. So here's another interesting game. 7-8 Saints, Tampa Bay 8-7. Now, granted, these two games are not great. They're playing in a horrible division, but the fact of the matter is where they are in the NFC and within the division. That 8-7 Buccaneers, Falcons 7-8. As well as the Saints are 7-8. So a loss here for Tampa Bay is a real bad timing loss in reality.
First of all, that's a very dubious 7-8 for the Saints. Okay, I mean,
yes,
they're 7-8. They're 7-8 because shit fell their way.
Good graces.
Yeah, because God thinks Saints are nice. I guess I don't know.
I guess maybe,
but I mean, he picked the wrong Saints.
Yes.
Look, Baker Mayfield is doing something wonderful with Tampa Bay that it cannot be underlooked right now. And I'm not saying they're gonna win and win it all, not even close, but they're definitely playing better ball than Derek Carr and the Saints. And you get down to it, look, it's a crap division.
Yes.
So whoever the best crap is going to win it, and that's going to be the Bucs.
Yeah. In this, I'm with the Bucs too. This is actually, if the Buccaneers are not going to go Baker's way in 2024, he only thing he is doing is auditioning for another team that he might go to that might believe in this guy. I don't know what teams need to do to believe in this guy. Yes, and listen, I hate arrogance as much as and that's his biggest flaw. Everybody.
He'd be great for the Chargers. He'd be great for the Chargers.
You think? I don't know if I want to give up on Herbert. I know you do. I think you're and hey, rightfully so. The way that he's been playing, I get what you're talking about. But also, that's another regime that's going to be, as far as coaching, that's going to be out the door as well.
Right. I mean, it's bang the hype ratio with him right now with me. And right now, I think the NFL put a lot of bank into him. And I'm like, well, what are the results? So,
yep.
That's my opinion.
Yep. So that being said, both on Tampa Bay. Now, I don't think a 4-11 football team in the Washington Commanders can beat the 49ers in reality.
Oh, come on.
I just don't think. I'm not going to waste that pick on maybe trying to get one, pick one up. I'm not going to do it here. But boy, wouldn't it be neat to see the 49ers? You would love to see the 49ers. He's in praying mode.
I've never been a Washington fan. It's funny. It's funny. I have, and I'll show this the next show. My parents used to live in North Carolina back in the day, right? And back then, there was no Carolina Panthers. The closest two teams you had was either the Washington Redskins or the Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. And so my parents have this really old, rickety-looking Redskin player. He's got a cane and everything else. And I have the painting. It's in my room. I'll bring it out here one day and show you. But I still have that as a keepsake, just to remind myself that that's the team I don't like.
Yes, exactly.
So for me to sit there and think that I have to pull for them, it hurts me. It makes me feel that old as that guy right there in the paint. So yeah, it's one of those things. But it's just funny too. I had a friend in high school who was a big Redskin fan. He would come over to the house. He see that paint. He's like, "I thought you were a Cowboys fan." I'm like, "I am." Look how old the guy is. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it stinks when you got to root for a team that you just despise.
You know what? This stinks. This is total BS.
You know what? Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
So we're going to get him back. He's going to probably go grab that so we could take a look at it. But The 49ers are just that. Washington is an interesting story per se. Where are they going to be in 2024? Obviously, based upon is division Washington's on in reality on the bottom at 4-11. Giants not much better at 5-10. But man, could they be the surprise that changes that whole thing? What you got? Show it to me. Did you go? Oh, he don't have his headphones back on. Go ahead, show it to me. Let me see what you got
Yeah,
there.
this has been in my family for 50 years. You tell with how the
back of him. Yeah, it's old school. Yeah, it's old school. Good. In other words, strong and sturdy. Bring it up a little. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is an old redskin.
Yes, old Redskins. Guy kind of looks like Santa there.
Yeah,
so there you go.
He's got a better beard than you do.
Hey, yeah. Next year, watch out, man. So
yeah. You're gonna Hollywood Hulk Hogan up next year. Can't wait.
Yeah. There you go. All right, 49ers, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Now we briefly talked about Jaguars over Carolina. I think
all we have to do.
The Jags should be able to get it.
They should. Carolina's got nothing.
I think I'm right there. 2-13 is 2-13. But the interesting game today, Houston's taking on Tennessee. This is that AFC South thing. Houston obviously fighting for the division, with the Jaguars as well as the Texans. This is a great time of the year to have that division game.
If there's ever a moment where Tennessee needs to bring back the Oilers stuff, is when they go into Houston. This would be perfect to do it there. Just to piss the Houston fans off. I love that.
Yeah,
they won't do it because they have no imagination. But it's I've got the Titans win now.
Yeah, you got the Titans winning this one. CJ Stroud is probable.
Is he probable? Are we sure about that? I heard he was out.
I'm looking at it, and this is as of this morning's probable. CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Case Keenum is a game day inactive, so he is not even the backup. So
then that changes my pick.
There you go.
Pick has been changed.
Yep. So I'm on the Houston Texans. They should be able to get that victory with him. Now, how effective is he going to be? I don't know, but it's got to be better than Case Keenum in reality. With the chance of being able to win anyway. But I just don't have that much in Tennessee right now because I don't think they're even a cohesive unit in the locker room at all, with all the things. The only thing that is for certain is Will Levis is going to be the quarterback next year. We don't know about Henry and his status for next year. We don't even know about the coaching staff in reality for the Tennessee Titans. So something to look at as far as that was concerned. Now, go to Cincinnati and Kansas City. Both of these teams,
do we pick a winner for the Denver and Chargers game?
That's next. That's next on my list.
Okay.
At least in the order I'm going. So that's next. But that being said, Cincinnati, Kansas City 9-6. Cincinnati 8-7. I think the 8-7 is a mirage in reality for that. Obviously, now having their quarterback and everything else, and then you got the backup doing. Oh, he imploded last week. He showed that he's a backup quarterback.
Listen, Taylor Swift has sucked the life out of Travis Kelce. That poor bastard. I mean,
God, it's got to be you. It's got to be you to blame the Taylor Swift angle on why they're not playing.
Listen, we love Taylor Swift here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Just get all you Swifties to come out here and watch us do our thing. So anyway,
I'm going to tell you, if she just wasn't so popular, I wouldn't even know. I can't name you one song she does. So there you go.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait up until the new album comes out. I was cheated by a tight end.
That is just so wrong. Oh my God, unbelievable. Okay.
Or maybe the new hit song. I have a tighter end than my boyfriend. I don't know.
Something like that, right? Oh my
Whatever.
God.
I'm tighter than my tight end. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm tired of my tight end. There you go.
no,
Yeah.
I'm tighter than my tight end. Anyway,
Oh
having said
God.
that, look, I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs
I
going
get
because
Chiefs, yeah.
they're at home, and while
Well, they lost at home last week. I mean,
they did. But the thing is, though, is that they don't do it twice in a row. I don't think. And
that's
now,
not very often. Yeah, if it does,
and
it's not very often.
any reason can control that team eventually. And they're not going to do a whole lot in the playoffs, but I think they run into the same problem the Cowboys ran into back in the '90s. They played way too much football in the early part of the '90s because of the playoffs and everything else. That the team looked tired by the time '96 rolled around, and they just looked like they just didn't have the fight. I'm not saying they don't have the fight, but I'm saying they know that they've been exposed to more football. People have seen more of their stuff, and now they kind of need like a nice fresh paint of coat a little bit to kind of keep going again for next year. Got to get through this year, and of course with the Bengals, kudos to the quarterback. Giving his all, getting that opportunity. We all because every player wants the opportunity, right?
Everybody.
The opportunity. Maybe this will shine for other people to see him to do things. Maybe the Bengals look at him and go, you know what, he's serviceable. We can keep him. I don't know. Don't know if he's in a contract year or not, but definitely gonna go to the Chiefs. So
Yeah, and here's the thing, with the Chiefs, they're not going to get the home field advantage to the whole thing, so that's already been determined. So they're going to hit the road after they win this
hit the
division.
road, Jack.
Yeah,
Don't you come
gonna
back,
see if
no,
they can
no,
come
no,
back
no,
from
no, no,
and then that'd just be another feather in the
What you
cap if the
say?
Chiefs can win this year the Super Bowl based upon what they did in the regular season. So it's going to be something to talk about, and not necessarily a bad talk about, but a talk about. But I am on Kansas City in this one. Now the Chargers in Denver. It completely changes with the fact that Russell Wilson is not starting in this game. I think it changes the idea. Now, that being said, when you're looking at the Chargers and what they are, they're a miserable 5-10. They have fired their coach. Where they are mentally, nothing to lose. As far as that is concerned, and Denver, this could be the knockout punch for them as far as where they are, as far as the division is concerned. They're 7-8 in second place, or tied for second with the Raiders. Uh, and really, if they get the win today, they're still one game behind the Chiefs. Could you imagine all the teams in this division ending up with, a tied record, whether it's the Raiders, Broncos, and Chiefs? It'd be really interesting. Don't see it happening. But who you got in this one? This one should be interesting.
Do you have your Couch Potato Sports coin available?
I don't, because I have not found. I actually have a specific couch potato quarter. I got quarters everywhere, but I don't have the couch potato quarter. I was thinking the same thing, but you know, I think what my problem in reality, okay, is when I'm looking at the Chargers and the fact that uh their lack of having their guy, Justin Herbert, as the starting quarterback, it just says we can't do this anymore. I mean, the backup quarterback is horrible. I mean, who is it? Crap, I can't even remember. The backup quarterback. I think it's either. Well, I don't know. I don't even know who they are. Stick. That's what it is. It's Stick. That's going to start because I remember someone talking about. But they also got Will Greer. I like Will Greer more than I like Stick.
Right.
But I think I'm going to go Stenham. So I'm just going to go quarterback in this one. So I'm going to go Stenham. I'm going to go the Broncos.
Well, I was thinking about it because I originally picked the Chargers, thinking, well, all the mess that's going on in Denver right now, will the offensive line, will the receivers for the Broncos look at their current quarterback and go, who's this guy? You know,
Exactly.
But they've had all week to practice with him, so I'm sure they've established some more stuff with him. I can see where the Broncos win this game, and they're gonna paint the camera, put the camera over there by Russell Wilson, have his head down, damn it, I could have been out there type thing, and kind of make it look like he's a victim in all this.
Yes. I expect that to happen anyway if they're winning
Right.
over.
Well, I think if there's ever a drinking game for this game, every time the camera pans to Russell Wilson, take a shot.
Take a shot. Yeah. It start early. It's New Year's Eve, baby.
Right. So that'd be the best fun game you can have for this.
Oh, absolutely. I think you're right. I think we're going to see that a lot. So Broncos or Chargers? Who are you going to go?
I switched over to the Broncos.
Okay, you switched over to the Broncos. Yeah. Gotcha. So
I
think that
because I keep forgetting that because I don't care. I kept forgetting that the Chargers changed their coaching staff and at the same time have really no direction at all right now. I just thought they'd have at least some of a direction considering all the nonsense coming out of Denver. But
yes.
See how that's working.
And listen, and the fact that if the Broncos go out and lay an egg, I don't think it would surprise anybody. And I think that would be more of a shot at the coaching staff more so than Russell Wilson in reality. I could see Denver losing this game, but listen, it's hard to play in Denver, with the air and everything up there. I always like Denver at home, not always 100%, but I do like them at home, and I do like them in this game. Even with Stenham, because I think Stenham can be a mediocre quarterback, and I think that's all they need today. It'd be different if they needed him to be good, but I don't think they need him to be good in order to win this.
We have 5 minutes left. One more game. Let's go.
One more game. Not much to talk about. Green Bay, Minnesota. They're both 8-7.
Let's break this one down. Let's break it all down. Come on.
You want to break? No. The only time he wants to break one down. Unbelievable. It's just they're both 7-8. They're both still fighting for that playoff spot. And this one is a tough one because I don't know what I think about Jordan Love. I know I don't know what I'm thinking about the Vikings in reality. The offense for both teams I don't think is too much existent. So then I looked on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm seeing what the Vikings are doing defensively more so than the Green Bay Packers, which in turn put me in the position where I've decided that, Brian Flores goes in. He turns that defense around really well in Minnesota, which was, by the way, pathetic. And he's changed that defense to where it's so respectful as of 2 and 3 years ago. The Minnesota Viking defense was, it was hard to score on them. So not that teams can't score on them now, but they're just holding them at the right times with the Brian Flores defense. I'm on Minnesota in this one. I'm going to take the defensive coach on that one.
Yeah, between the Fudge Packers and the Vikings. Yeah,
you only say that because the Vikings usually beat the Dallas Cowboys, so
not usually, but it has happened. I mean, look, anytime the Cowboys play anybody in the NFC North, I get worried. So, but give me the Vikings being home. Defense should be able to really, brain fart Jordan Love a lot to where he will know what to do and where to throw the ball, make mistakes.
Yeah.
That should happen. Now I say that and watch the game start off be 24-0 Packers over the Vikings in the first half. But that's the story of my life. But I'm gonna go Vikings on this one. I think Dobbs to the quarterback, right?
What?
Is Dobbs still their quarterback?
No. Dobbs he's inactive. He's not even active.
No.
It's Will Greer is the backup to a guy and I never heard of him, so that's another reason why I didn't pick him.
Time out.
His last name is Stick.
Time out. Also, what team does Will Greer play for?
Minnesota Vikings. He's going to back up Stick today.
You had Will Greer and Stick on another team earlier.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Go back and watch the show.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I might do that, but no.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about the Vikings earlier today.
Are you okay, sir? Are you okay?
I might be having a conniption. I don't know.
I mean, you blew a fucking fuse earlier in the show.
Having a stroke. I mean after that Pittsburgh take, I might be having a stroke.
So, can we put you in hospice and put you in a
something like that? I'm already in a 55 and older community, so there you go.
Yeah, you now live in a community where you can't really say see you tomorrow because you never know.
You never know. You just never know. But by the way, after next week, we got our show on Sunday.
All right.
Later in the night. At 8, it's probably 8:15 or 8:30. We will be talking about coaching hot seats. It's Black Monday on Monday, so we'll find out who's coaching.
Yeah,
we've already had quite a few coaching changes during the season, but who else might be on?
Time out. Is this next week?
No, not tomorrow Monday. The Monday after.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, because I'm taking next Sunday off, so I can join you on that show. So
we're not going to be on very long. We're just going to be talking about coaches that get shot. But but we will be on Sunday as well. So it's one of those. Sweet. It's one of those special shows that we have, so we can talk about coaching. Yeah, special. It's a special show.
It's a special show.
It's a special. So we'll put that together and see what we can do. And
we're talking about a sport where a man puts his hands underneath the center's ass and goes hot. Yeah. or if you're Dak Prescott, here we go.
By the way, I heard that all night. I've been heard it all year. Last night, that's all I heard was Dak Prescott. Here we go. I haven't heard it, but I watch the games with the volume down because I'm BSing with my brothers usually. So that's
yeah. I mean that's his whole cadence now. Is like here we go. I mean it's his Omaha, So
yeah, exactly. It's just like I was like, gosh, I was listening. That's all I heard. I was like, God, someone needs to shut that dude up. I'm just like, I'm tired of it already. But hey, it's just me. But all right, we knocked it out 3 hours. They're going to be kicking off. I got to get my YouTube TV all connected so I can watch Red Zone and get through it. I mean, I got a little more work that I can do before I can sit down and watch the damn games. Yeah, I know. So it is what it is. All right, my man. Have a good one. Always good to see you. Get your ass to work before they say, hey, you're out of here.
They can let me go. I'm fine with that.
So, all right. That's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Take care. Bye.